Do you ever stop and think about how your emotions shape your life? From the way laughter can instantly lift your mood to how emotions impact your health, there's more to them than meets the eye. In today's video, we're exploring how understanding and managing your emotions can transform your well-being. Stick around to discover how the power of emotions can actually improve your life. Fact 1. The power of emotions. You've probably had one of those days where everything feels like it's going great, until something small happens and it completely changes your mood. Maybe someone says something offhand, or something doesn't go the way you expected. Suddenly, you're in a bad mood, and it seems like the whole day is going downhill. Ever notice how that one thing can influence your entire experience of the day? The thing is, emotions have a way of shaping our lives more than we often realize. It's not just about feeling happy or sad. Emotions are the way we process the world around us. They guide how we respond to situations, how we relate to others, and how we move through the ups and downs of everyday life. Think about it. When you're feeling good, you're more likely to take on challenges with a positive mindset. But when emotions like stress or frustration sneak in, those challenges can feel a lot heavier. And it's not just the big emotions that matter. Even the small everyday feelings can have an impact. A small act of kindness might lift your mood, while a brief moment of irritation could carry over and affect the rest of your interactions. Emotions are contagious too. Ever walked into a room and felt instantly energized by someone else's enthusiasm? Or maybe even drained by someone else's negativity? That's emotions at work, influencing not just us but the people around us as well. So, emotions aren't just reactions. They're a part of how we navigate life. And the more we understand this, the better we can handle the emotional rollercoaster that comes with it. After all, our emotions don't just affect us in the moment, they shape the way we live, love, and connect with others. Fact 2. Why emotions matter. Ever stop to think about why we feel the way we do? Emotions often get a bad rap, right? We hear things like, "Don't be so emotional," or "Get a grip." But what if I told you that emotions aren't just something to deal with, they're actually essential for our well-being? The thing about emotions is that they give us valuable insight into ourselves. They're like signals from our mind and body, telling us what we need, what we value, or where we might be off track. When we feel happy, it's a sign that things are going well, that our needs are being met, and that we're aligned with what feels right. On the other hand, when we feel sad or frustrated, it can signal that something's missing or that we need to make a change. But here's the kicker. Emotions are also deeply connected to our mental and physical health. Have you ever noticed how stress can take a toll on your body? Tension in your muscles, headaches, trouble sleeping? It's all linked to how our emotions are playing out. Chronic emotional stress can even affect our heart, our immune system, and our overall well-being. It's a reminder that emotions aren't just in our heads, they're part of our whole health. The good news is, by recognizing the role emotions play in our well-being, we can take steps to nurture them. We can learn to embrace positive emotions, let go of negative ones, and seek balance. When we do that, we're not just improving our mental health, we're improving our physical health too. Fact 3. Emotions and sleep. Ever had one of those nights where you just couldn't turn your brain off? You lay in bed trying to sleep, but your mind is running a mile a minute, thinking about everything that happened during the day, or maybe worrying about something in the future. It's so frustrating, right? That's a perfect example of how emotions can directly affect our ability to sleep. When we're emotionally charged, whether it's from stress, anxiety, or excitement, our bodies don't relax the way they should. Our minds stay alert. And even though we're physically tired, it's like we can't shut off. It's like trying to turn off a car engine when it's still running. Everything just stays in motion. The connection between emotions and sleep is pretty straightforward. Emotions like anxiety or worry trigger the body's fight or flight response, which floods us with stress hormones. These hormones keep us awake and alert, making it harder to fall asleep. On the flip side, feelings of calmness or contentment help release calming hormones, making it easier for our bodies to relax and slip into a peaceful sleep. So, if you've ever struggled to fall asleep after a stressful day, you're not alone. The good news is that practicing emotional regulation and finding ways to calm the mind, like deep breathing or mindfulness, can help turn things around. When we find ways to manage our emotions, we're setting ourselves up for better, deeper rest. Fact 4. What is emotional regulation? Emotional regulation sounds like a big term, right? But here's the thing, it's really just about how we handle our feelings. Some days we're on top of the world, handling everything with ease. Other days we feel like our emotions are running the show, and it can be overwhelming. That's where emotional regulation comes in. Emotional regulation is simply the ability to manage and respond to our emotions in a healthy way. It's not about suppressing feelings or pretending we don't have bad days. It's about being aware of our emotions, understanding where they're coming from, and finding ways to deal with them constructively. When we can regulate our emotions, we're able to think clearly, make better decisions, and react in ways that don't cause more stress or harm. It's like this. Imagine you're in traffic and someone cuts you off. You feel that anger rise up. Now, emotional regulation doesn't mean pretending you're not angry. It's about acknowledging the anger and then choosing how to respond. Maybe you take a deep breath, let it go, and move on, instead of letting that anger dictate your actions. Learning emotional regulation can improve your relationships, your mental health, and even your physical health. When we regulate our emotions, we avoid letting stress build up, we communicate more clearly, and we create a more balanced life. It's a skill that's worth practicing because ultimately it helps us live better, healthier lives. Fact 5. Emotional intelligence. Ever met someone who just seems to get people? They know when you're upset, they understand how to lift your spirits, and they manage their emotions in a way that makes you feel heard and supported. That's emotional intelligence at work. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. It's a skill that helps us navigate the complexities of relationships, whether at work, with friends, or with family. The better we understand our own emotions, the better we can empathize with others, and the more we understand others, the better we can communicate, collaborate, and support one another. For example, let's say you're talking to a friend who's having a tough time. Someone with high emotional intelligence will not only notice the signs of distress, but also know how to respond with care and understanding. They might not have all the answers, but they create a space where the other person feels seen and heard. Having emotional intelligence isn't just about being a good friend or partner. It also affects how we handle conflict, deal with stress, and make decisions. The more we understand emotions, the better we can manage them, leading to healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life. Fact 6. The 6 basic emotions. Have you ever wondered why emotions like happiness, anger, fear, and sadness feel so universal? I mean, no matter where you are in the world, people experience these emotions in similar ways. It turns out there are 6 basic emotions that form the foundation of everything we feel: joy, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust. These 6 are known as the core emotions, and they're hardwired into our brains. Think about it. When you experience joy, your body relaxes, your face lights up, and you feel that warmth inside. It's a universally recognized feeling. Sadness is another one we all know well, the heaviness in your chest when something goes wrong, or the quiet after a loss. Fear? That's the gut-punching feeling we get when we're in danger, telling us to either fight or run away. Anger's a bit trickier. It comes out when we feel threatened, wronged, or frustrated. And surprise? That's the emotion that jolts us when something unexpected happens, like a surprise party or an unfamiliar noise in the night. Disgust, on the other hand, is pretty straightforward. It's that gut reaction when we encounter something gross, like bad food or something disturbing. These 6 emotions are part of the way we process the world around us, and they're actually quite helpful. They help us respond quickly to life's challenges. But here's the cool thing. These emotions are like the building blocks of all other feelings. Everything we feel, from love to jealousy to pride, is based on these 6 core emotions. So even if your feelings sometimes feel complex or hard to explain, you can usually trace them back to one or more of these basics. Fact 7. How emotions are wired in the brain. You know when you feel a sudden rush of happiness or that familiar knot of anxiety in your stomach. Ever wonder what's going on in your brain when that happens? It turns out, emotions are deeply connected to brain activity, almost like your brain is the command center that processes everything you're feeling. There's a part of your brain called the amygdala, and it plays a huge role in processing emotions. When something happens that triggers an emotional response, the amygdala is activated, sending signals throughout your body. That's why, for example, when you're scared, you immediately feel your heart race, your palms get sweaty, and your muscles tense up. Your brain is constantly analysing your surroundings, trying to determine if there's something to be afraid of or if everything's safe. If it senses danger, the brain activates the fight or flight response, preparing your body to either confront the threat or escape it. But it's not just fear that gets processed in the brain. Your brain also handles joy, sadness, and every other emotion in similar ways, though different parts of the brain are activated depending on the feeling. What's fascinating is that the brain doesn't just react to emotions, it also helps us manage them. For instance, the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and rational thinking, can help regulate intense emotions. It's like your brain has a built-in system that lets you process and respond to your feelings in a healthy way. Pretty incredible, right? Fact 8. Sadness and its purpose. Sadness is one of those emotions we often try to avoid, right? It feels heavy, uncomfortable, and sometimes even painful. But here's the thing, sadness actually serves a purpose. In fact, it might be more beneficial than we realize. When we experience sadness, it's often a signal that something's not quite right. Whether we've lost something important, faced a disappointment, or are dealing with a change in our lives. Sadness helps us process grief, loss, and transition. It gives us the time and space to reflect and adjust to what's happening around us. Think about it. When we're sad, we tend to slow down, take stock, and reassess. It's like an emotional reset. On top of that, sadness actually has social benefits. When we feel down, we're more likely to seek support from others. This strengthens our relationships and helps us feel understood and connected. So, even though sadness can feel overwhelming at times, it's also a way for us to rebuild and heal. It's a reminder that, just like happiness, it's part of the emotional cycle that makes us human. The key is not to push sadness away, but to embrace it as part of the process. It's okay to feel sad. After all, it's just another emotion helping you grow and move forward in life. Fact 9. The role of joy. Isn't it amazing how joy feels like it can light up your entire being? It's that warm, buzzing feeling you get when something good happens, whether it's a big achievement or a small moment of happiness. Joy is often considered one of the most positive emotions, but it's also deeply important for our mental and physical health. Joy isn't just about feeling happy in the moment, it's actually a powerful emotion that can boost our overall well-being. When we experience joy, our brains release endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that create a natural high. These chemicals not only make us feel good, but they also reduce stress and anxiety. It's like a natural antidote to the negative emotions that can pile up over time. The interesting thing about joy is that it's contagious. Have you ever noticed how when someone else is joyful, it's hard not to smile or feel a little lighter? That's because joy has a ripple effect, spreading positivity to everyone around us. It also helps improve our relationships, making it easier to connect with others and form deeper bonds. But joy doesn't always have to come from big events or achievements. Sometimes the smallest things can bring the most joy, like a delicious meal, a compliment, or simply being in the company of someone you care about. The key is recognizing and appreciating those moments, because they're what help fill our lives with happiness. Fact 10. Fear. Fight or flight. Fear. It's one of those emotions that everyone has felt at some point, whether it's from a scary movie, a stressful situation, or even a looming deadline. Fear can be paralyzing, but it's also one of the most protective emotions we have. At its core, fear is there to keep us safe. When we sense danger, whether it's physical or emotional, fear triggers a survival mechanism called the fight or flight response. This is a natural reaction that prepares our body to either face the threat head-on, fight, or run away from it, flight. Our heart races, our muscles tense up, and we become hyper-aware of our surroundings. This instinctual response has been a crucial part of human survival for thousands of years. But fear doesn't always have to be a bad thing. While it can feel overwhelming at times, fear also helps us make quick decisions and stay alert. It's like an internal alarm system that tells us when something is off. In fact, a little bit of fear can even be motivating. Like when you're nervous about a big presentation and it pushes you to prepare more thoroughly. The trick is learning how to manage fear so it doesn't take over. When we understand that fear is just a part of being human, something that keeps us alert and safe, we can learn how to work with it rather than against it. After all, fear doesn't have to control us. It can be a useful tool as long as we don't let it dictate our actions. Fact 11. surprise and its impact on the brain. Surprise is one of those emotions that can catch you off guard. Literally. You're going along, minding your own business, and then something unexpected happens. Maybe it's a surprise gift, or you're walking down the street when something out of the ordinary catches your eye. It's that sudden moment when your brain says, "Wait, what just happened?" What's fascinating about surprise is how it instantly grabs our attention. When we experience surprise, our brains react quickly, often activating the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for emotional processing. This reaction is why you might feel that sudden jolt of energy, or that momentary confusion when something surprises you. It's like your brain's way of saying, "Okay, pay attention, something important is happening." Interestingly, surprise is both an emotional and cognitive experience. It doesn't just make us feel something, it also makes us think. After the initial shock, our brains quickly start to make sense of the situation, decoding what just happened and adjusting our reactions accordingly. If it's a pleasant surprise, our brain releases dopamine, giving us that rush of joy. If it's a negative surprise, like a shock or a sudden scare, our brains move into problem-solving mode, trying to assess whether we need to act or protect ourselves. What makes surprise so impactful is that it doesn't just create a moment of shock. It leaves a lasting impression. It's one of those emotions that sticks with us, and sometimes even changes the way we think or act in future situations. In fact, surprising moments often have the power to create lasting memories. Whether it's a positive shock or a negative one, surprise changes the way we see the world, even if just for a little while. Fact 12. Anger and its healing power. Anger. It's one of those emotions that we're often taught to avoid or suppress. But what if I told you that anger, in small doses, can actually be healing? When we experience anger, our body goes through a number of physical and emotional changes. Our heart rate increases, our muscles tense, and our mind sharpens. In many ways, anger is like a burst of energy. It makes us ready to take action. That's because, at its core, anger is often a response to something we perceive as unjust or wrong. It's a natural reaction that signals a need for change. But here's the thing. Anger isn't just about aggression. When managed properly, anger can be a powerful tool for healing. It can serve as a catalyst for addressing issues that need attention, whether that's standing up for yourself, setting boundaries, or advocating for others. Think about it. When we're angry, it often points to something deeper that requires resolution. By acknowledging and expressing our anger in healthy ways, we can release pent-up emotions and restore a sense of balance in our lives. Anger also has a way of pushing us to take action. It's a motivating force that can drive us to make positive changes, whether it's solving a problem or improving a situation. When we understand the root of our anger and channel it constructively, it can bring about personal growth and healing. In the end, anger doesn't have to be destructive. It can be a force for good when we use it to express our needs, stand up for ourselves, and advocate for positive change. The key is understanding that anger, like all emotions, is part of the human experience, and when we handle it well, it can actually help us heal. Fact 13. Disgust, a natural defense mechanism. Disgust. It's that feeling you get when you encounter something revolting, whether it's bad food, an unpleasant smell, or something that just doesn't sit right. It's one of those emotions that feels almost instinctive, like a knee-jerk reaction to something harmful or unclean. But did you know that disgust serves a very important purpose? At its core, disgust is a natural defense mechanism. It's the body's way of protecting us from potential threats. Imagine you're walking through a forest and you stumble upon something that smells foul or looks rotten. Your immediate reaction is disgust, and for good reason. That disgust might be warning you that the food could be spoiled, or that there's a health risk nearby. It's a way of telling you to steer clear and avoid harm. But disgust isn't just about physical threats. It also plays a role in our social interactions. Think about when you encounter behaviors or actions that you find morally or socially unacceptable. Disgust can serve as a signal to our brains that something is off, and it helps us navigate our social world by encouraging us to reject harmful or dangerous behaviors. Interestingly, while disgust is often tied to negative experiences, it's also essential for survival. It helps us avoid contamination, keep ourselves safe, and even maintain personal boundaries. So, even though it's an uncomfortable emotion, disgust is actually one of the body's protective systems, ensuring that we stay away from things that could be harmful both physically and socially. Fact 14. The emotional spectrum. We all know what it feels like to be happy or sad, but have you ever stopped to think about how many emotions we really experience on a daily basis? It's not just a simple binary of happy or sad. The emotional spectrum is vast, and it's made up of so many different shades and subtleties. The emotional spectrum is essentially the range of feelings we can experience, from the most intense joy to the deepest sorrow and everything in between. Each of us experiences this spectrum differently, based on our personalities, circumstances, and how we're wired. Some days we might feel on top of the world, energized, and full of hope. Other days we might feel drained, disconnected, or unsure of what's next. And the thing is, emotions aren't always fixed. They ebb and flow throughout the day, sometimes even changing within the hour. One minute you might feel excited, the next you're anxious, then suddenly content. It's all part of the human experience. The emotional spectrum isn't just about the highs and lows, it's also about the subtleties in between, the quiet moments of calm, the fleeting feeling of nostalgia, the unexpected bursts of gratitude. These emotions may not always be intense, but they shape our experience and add depth to our lives. The beauty of the emotional spectrum is that it gives us the ability to experience the full range of human emotions. Each one, whether positive or negative, adds something to our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. By learning to navigate this spectrum, we can better manage our emotions and appreciate the richness of life. Fact 15. The role of empathy. Empathy. It's that feeling you get when you understand exactly how someone else is feeling, like you can almost step into their shoes and see the world from their perspective. But empathy isn't just about understanding, it's also about connection. And it's one of the most powerful emotions we can experience, especially when it comes to building meaningful relationships. When you're empathetic, you're not just recognizing someone else's emotions, you're feeling them too. It's a natural human ability that allows us to connect with others on a deep emotional level, and it's essential for building trust, understanding, and compassion in relationships. Empathy is also a key part of emotional intelligence. By understanding how others feel, we're able to respond in ways that are supportive and caring. For example, if a friend is feeling down, an empathetic response might be simply listening to them, offering comfort or acknowledging their pain. It's not about fixing their problems, but showing that you truly understand what they're going through. What makes empathy so powerful is its ability to create bonds. When we empathize with others, we show them that they're not alone in their struggles, that someone else truly cares. And in turn, empathy can also help us feel more connected, reducing loneliness and promoting a sense of belonging. Empathy isn't just about emotional connection. It's a skill that can be developed and strengthened over time. When we practice empathy, we become better friends, partners, and members of our communities, creating a more understanding and compassionate world. Fact 16. Childhood emotions. As a kid, do you remember how everything felt so big? Like every little thing had the power to turn your world upside down. Whether it was losing your favorite toy, feeling left out of a game, or getting a hug from your parents after a rough day, emotions during childhood are intense, unpredictable, and all-encompassing. For kids, emotions are like a roller coaster. They can go from ecstatic joy to heart-wrenching sadness in a matter of seconds. Childhood is a time when we're still learning how to understand and manage our emotions. We don't have the words or the tools yet to navigate the complexities of what we're feeling, so everything is a big deal. A fight with a friend feels like the end of the world, and an unexpected treat can make you feel like the luckiest person alive. But what's really interesting is that childhood emotions lay the foundation for how we handle emotions later in life. The way children express their feelings, whether they cry, shout, or retreat into themselves, sets the stage for their emotional regulation as they grow. That's why, as adults, it's so important to nurture emotional intelligence in kids. By teaching them how to name their emotions and work through difficult feelings, we're helping them build resilience for the future. Even though childhood emotions can feel overwhelming at times, they're also a key part of learning how to connect with others, manage stress, and handle the ups and downs of life. In the end, those early emotional experiences shape us in ways we might not realize at the time, but they have a lasting impact on how we relate to the world around us. Fact 17. Teenage years and emotional turmoil are the teenage years, Does it get any more emotional than that? It's a time of constant change, and the emotions you experience can be intense and unpredictable. One moment you're on top of the world, feeling like you're invincible. The next you're heartbroken, angry, or just plain confused. It's no wonder that many people look back at their teen years and say, wow, I was a roller coaster of emotions. Teenagers go through so many shifts, physically, mentally, and socially, that it's like their emotions are on overdrive. Puberty, new relationships, peer pressure, and figuring out who you really are can all trigger powerful emotions. And because the brain is still developing, teens may not always know how to handle the emotional ups and downs they experience. Sometimes that leads to impulsive decisions, outbursts, or feeling overwhelmed. But here's the thing, these emotional experiences are a normal part of growing up. They help teens learn how to cope with life's challenges and begin to build emotional resilience. As much as it can feel like the end of the world when things go wrong, those moments are also shaping emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and regulate emotions. While it might feel like everything is amplified during the teen years, these emotions are also the stepping stones for emotional maturity. Over time, teens learn how to process their feelings more effectively, setting them up for healthier emotional lives as they enter adulthood. So, while those teenage years might be tough, they're actually an important part of learning how to navigate the world emotionally. Fact 18. Emotional growth in adulthood. Remember the days when you were a teenager and you thought you had it all figured out? Then adulthood came along and suddenly everything seemed a little more complicated. The emotional growth that happens in adulthood is all about learning to balance our feelings with the realities of life. We move from those dramatic swings of adolescence into a more stable, yet still nuanced, emotional landscape. In adulthood, emotions often become more complex. We learn how to handle stress, navigate relationships, and manage responsibilities like careers and family life. This is when emotional maturity really comes into play. We start to realize that emotions like anger, sadness, and joy aren't just reactions to events. They're signals that tell us what's important to us. As adults, we develop the ability to understand that emotions are temporary and that we have the power to regulate them. But emotional growth in adulthood isn't always easy. As we get older, we face new challenges: job stress, family conflicts, health issues, and all of these can bring up difficult emotions. The key to emotional growth is learning to cope with these feelings in healthy ways. It's about finding balance, practicing self-awareness, and learning to express emotions without letting them control us. Adulthood is also the time when we really begin to understand others' emotions, which strengthens our relationships. We become more empathetic, recognizing that everyone is navigating their own emotional journey. By the time we reach adulthood, our emotional growth helps us build deeper, more meaningful connections with those around us. Fact 19. Emotions in older age. As we get older, emotions take on a new meaning. It's like all those years of experience, relationships, and memories have given us a deeper understanding of what really matters. Emotions in older age often reflect a sense of peace and acceptance, but that doesn't mean they're any less complex or important. Older adults often have a better grasp on managing their emotions compared to younger years. By this point, they've learned how to deal with the highs and lows of life: loss, success, relationships, and everything in between. Many older people report feeling more emotionally resilient as they age, with a greater ability to savor the good moments and let go of the negative ones. That doesn't mean everything is easy, though. Aging can bring about emotions like nostalgia, loss, and sometimes even regret. Losing loved ones, dealing with physical decline, or feeling disconnected from the world can trigger feelings of sadness or fear. But the beauty of aging emotionally is that many people develop a strong sense of perspective and are able to approach these feelings with a greater sense of calm. In many ways, older adults are masters of emotional regulation. They've had decades of experience dealing with life's challenges and have learned how to adjust their emotional responses to fit their needs. The key here is acceptance, accepting the ups and downs of life, and understanding that emotions, no matter what stage we're in, are a natural part of the human experience. Fact 20. Parenthood and emotional shifts. Parenthood is one of the most emotionally transformative experiences you can go through. Before you have kids, you might think you understand what emotions are all about, but nothing really prepares you for the emotional roller coaster of becoming a parent. When you first hold your child, there's an overwhelming sense of love and awe. You experience joy in a way that feels almost new. But with this joy comes a whole new set of emotional challenges. Suddenly you're responsible for another human being, and that can bring up fear, stress, and anxiety. You're constantly worried about doing the right thing, making sure your child is safe, and navigating the pressures of parenthood. As parents, we also experience emotional shifts as we balance our own needs with those of our children. There's a deep emotional connection that forms, but it's also exhausting, emotionally, physically, and mentally. Parents often have to find new ways to manage stress and handle difficult emotions like frustration or guilt. But the emotional rewards of parenthood are profound. The love you feel for your child, the pride in their achievements, and the joy of watching them grow are all powerful emotions that can make every challenge worthwhile. Parenthood teaches us a lot about patience, empathy, and selflessness, and it has a profound impact on our emotional growth. It's a life stage that reshapes our emotional landscape in ways we never expected. Fact 21. Grief and healing. Grief is one of those emotions that can feel all-consuming, like a heavy weight pressing down on you. It's that deep, aching sorrow that comes after a loss. Whether it's the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or even a personal dream that didn't come true. But grief isn't just about feeling sad. It's a complex mix of emotions that can also include anger, confusion, and even relief. And while it's one of the toughest emotions to go through, it's also a necessary part of healing. What's fascinating about grief is that it doesn't follow a set timeline. You don't just get over it in a few weeks or months. Grief is different for everyone, and it can come in waves, hitting when you least expect it. Some days you might feel okay, and other days the sadness comes rushing back. It's natural, and it's part of the process. Healing from grief doesn't mean forgetting what you've lost. It means finding a way to live with that loss and moving forward. It's about accepting that life is full of changes and learning how to adjust to them. Many people find healing through talking about their feelings, remembering the good times, or even creating new rituals to honor what they've lost. Grief can be painful, but it's also a teacher. It helps us appreciate the people and moments we have, and it reminds us of our own emotional strength. The process of healing may take time, but in the end it can bring growth, understanding, and even deeper connections with others. Fact 22. Emotions. During big life changes. Big life changes can bring on a whirlwind of emotions, some expected, others completely out of the blue. Whether it's moving to a new city, starting a new job, getting married, or going through a major life transition like a divorce, these changes can stir up everything from excitement to anxiety to downright fear. What's interesting about these big changes is that they often trigger a mix of emotions at the same time. One minute you might feel a sense of excitement and hope about the future, and the next, you could feel overwhelmed by the uncertainty that comes with stepping into the unknown. It's like your emotions are caught between what's been familiar and what's coming next. The good news is that, even though these emotions can feel overwhelming, they're completely normal. When we go through significant life changes, we're essentially rewriting our story. We're stepping out of our comfort zones and pushing ourselves to grow. But this growth doesn't come without a bit of emotional turbulence. There can be moments of doubt, stress, or even sadness as we leave behind the old and embrace the new. The key to handling emotions during big life changes is to allow yourself to feel them. It's okay to be scared or uncertain. And while the unknown can be intimidating, it's also where all the exciting things happen. So take a deep breath, trust the process, and remember that change, no matter how uncomfortable, is often the gateway to something new and better. Fact 23. Cultural influence on emotional expression. Ever noticed how different cultures express emotions in unique ways? Some cultures embrace open emotional expression, where it's common to show joy, sadness, or even frustration in public. Other cultures place a higher value on restraint and emotional control, where displaying emotion too openly might be seen as inappropriate. Cultural influences on emotional expression are powerful. They shape how we understand our own emotions and how we communicate them to others. For example, in many Western cultures, emotions are often seen as something to be openly shared, while in Eastern cultures, there might be a greater emphasis on harmony and internal emotional control. This doesn't mean people from different cultures don't feel the same things, it just means they might express those feelings in different ways. What's fascinating is that cultural norms around emotions can have a profound impact on mental health. In cultures where emotional expression is more accepted, people may feel more comfortable sharing their feelings, seeking support and talking through their emotions. In cultures where emotional restraint is emphasized, people may feel more pressure to bottle up their feelings, which can sometimes lead to higher levels of stress or even emotional burnout. Understanding these cultural differences is important, especially in a globalized world. It helps us connect better with others and gain a deeper appreciation for the diversity of emotional experiences across different cultures. In the end, no matter where you're from, emotions are universal, and it's the way we express them that makes each culture unique. Fact 24. Gender and emotion. Have you ever noticed how society often has different expectations for how men and women should express their emotions? It's something that starts early on, and it can shape the way we experience and share our feelings throughout life. For example, in many cultures, men are often taught to hide or suppress emotions like sadness or fear, while women are encouraged to express their feelings more openly. But here's the thing, emotions don't have a gender. Everyone experiences the full spectrum of emotions regardless of gender. The difference comes in how we're conditioned to express those emotions. Men may feel just as much sadness or joy as women, but they might be less likely to show it because of societal norms. Similarly, women might feel pressured to express vulnerability, even when they're not comfortable doing so. The impact of these gender norms can be significant. When people feel restricted in how they can express their emotions, it can lead to frustration, misunderstanding, or even emotional repression. But the more we challenge these stereotypes and create spaces where everyone can express themselves freely, the better we'll be at understanding and supporting each other emotionally. Ultimately, emotions don't care about gender. They care about our experiences, our reactions, and how we handle what's happening in our lives. The more we allow ourselves to be open with our feelings, no matter our gender, the more emotionally connected and healthier we can become. Fact 25. The impact of social media on our emotions. Social media, love it or hate it, it's a huge part of our lives these days. Whether we're scrolling through Instagram, checking Twitter, or posting on Facebook, social media has a powerful influence on our emotions. Sometimes it can bring us closer to others and provide a sense of connection. Other times, it can leave us feeling isolated, anxious, or even inadequate. The thing about social media is that it gives us a constant stream of emotional input. We're constantly exposed to other people's lives, opinions, and experiences, which can trigger everything from happiness to envy to frustration. Seeing someone's highlight reel, a vacation, a new outfit, a happy family, can make us feel like we're missing out or not measuring up. It's easy to compare ourselves to others, and that can lead to feelings of insecurity or even depression. But it's not all bad. Social media can also help us feel connected, especially when we're far from friends or family. It can be a source of support, a place to share ideas, and a way to engage with people who have similar interests. It's all about how we use it. By being mindful of how social media makes us feel and setting healthy boundaries, we can create a more positive emotional experience online. In the end, the impact of social media on our emotions really comes down to how we engage with it. It's up to us to be aware of how it affects our emotional well-being and to make choices that nurture our mental health. Fact 26. Grief and healing. Grief is one of those emotions that you never really expect to go through until you find yourself in it. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or even the loss of a dream, grief is a heavy, complicated emotion. It's a feeling that catches you off guard and sticks around longer than you might expect. What's interesting about grief is that it's not just one emotion. It's a mix of many. There's sadness, anger, confusion, even guilt, all swirling together. And the thing is, everyone experiences grief differently. For some, it might feel like a sudden punch to the gut. For others, it's a slow, steady ache. It's one of those emotions that doesn't follow a clear timeline. Some days you might feel okay, and the next, it's like the weight of the loss hits all over again. But here's the thing. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean moving on as if nothing ever happened. Healing is about finding a way to live with the loss, to carry it with you in a way that doesn't overwhelm your life. It's about finding moments of peace, accepting the pain as part of the process, and allowing yourself the time and space to heal. One important thing to remember about grief is that it's okay to feel however you feel. There's no right or wrong way to grieve. And as hard as it might be, accepting the full range of emotions that come with loss is part of the healing journey. Over time, you'll find ways to honor the memories, cherish what you had, and learn to live with the absence. It's a difficult road, but one that ultimately leads to growth and acceptance. Fact 27. Emotions. During big life changes, like moving to a new city, switching careers, or embarking on a new chapter of personal growth, bring about a whirlwind of emotions. 1 minute you might feel excitement and possibility, the next you might feel fear and doubt. These transitions stir up all kinds of emotions, often all at once. Moving to a new place is a perfect example. At first, there's that spark of excitement. Everything's new, the people, the surroundings, the potential for something fresh. But then, as you settle in, there's the realization of what you've left behind. Friends, routines, the comfort of familiarity. That shift from excitement to homesickness, or the worry that you won't fit in, can bring on a mix of emotions. Similarly, career changes, whether it's starting a new job or changing industries, can stir up a lot of uncertainty. You're stepping into unknown territory, which can feel both exciting and intimidating. You might feel proud of your decision to take a leap, but at the same time, there might be doubt, anxiety, or even regret as you face the challenges that come with it. What's key during these big changes is remembering that it's okay to feel conflicted. Emotions like excitement, fear, and uncertainty are all part of the growth process. Each transition, whether it's moving or changing careers, is an opportunity for personal development. It's a time to embrace change, even if it feels a little uncomfortable at first, and over time, these changes help shape you into a stronger, more adaptable person. Fact 28. Cultural influence on emotional expression. Have you ever noticed how different people express emotions in different ways? In some cultures, it's completely normal to show excitement or sadness openly. In others, there's a strong value placed on emotional restraint. It's fascinating how deeply culture influences the way we experience and express our feelings. In many Western cultures, emotions like happiness, anger, and excitement are often shown openly. It's common to express joy through laughter or excitement through a loud cheer. But in other parts of the world, particularly in many Eastern cultures, emotions are more subdued. For example, showing anger in public might be seen as inappropriate, while keeping a calm demeanor is valued in most social situations. These cultural differences in emotional expression can have a big impact on how we relate to others. For example, someone from a culture that encourages emotional expression might feel confused or hurt if they're in a setting where others are more reserved. Similarly, someone from a culture that values emotional control might find it overwhelming to be around people who are very expressive. Understanding these cultural influences can help us be more empathetic and better navigate relationships with people from different backgrounds. It also reminds us that there's no one right way to experience or express emotions. It's all shaped by where we come from, and that's something worth respecting. In the end, these differences add richness to our emotional experiences, allowing us to connect in diverse ways. Fact 29. Gender and emotion. Gender and emotion. There's a lot of talk about this, and for good reason. Have you ever noticed how society often expects men and women to handle emotions differently? It's like there are these unwritten rules about how emotions should be expressed based on gender. But here's the truth. Emotions aren't gendered. We all feel the same range of emotions, no matter who we are. Yet the way we express them can often be influenced by cultural expectations. For example, men are often socialized to hide emotions like sadness or vulnerability. They're expected to be strong, stoic, and in control. On the flip side, women are often encouraged to be more expressive with their feelings, whether that's joy, sadness, or anger. This can lead to misunderstandings, especially when one gender's emotional expression is seen as a weakness or not appropriate by the other. What's really important to understand here is that emotional responses don't differ inherently by gender. Men feel just as much sadness, love, and joy as women do. They just might not express it in the same way due to societal norms. The key to understanding emotions across gender lines is recognizing that everyone's emotional experience is valid, no matter how it's expressed. Challenging these gendered expectations and allowing ourselves to experience and express our emotions freely, regardless of gender, can lead to healthier, more authentic emotional connections with others. The goal isn't to box emotions into categories based on gender, it's to give everyone the freedom to feel and express as they truly are. Fact 30. The impact of social media on our emotions. Social media, love it or hate it, it's an undeniable part of our daily lives. And whether we realize it or not, social media has a huge impact on our emotions. It can bring us joy when we see something inspiring or heartwarming, but it can also trigger feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, or loneliness. Ever felt like you've spent hours scrolling through Instagram only to end up feeling worse than when you started? That's the emotional side of social media at work. What makes social media so impactful is how it gives us a constant stream of emotional input. Every post, every picture, every like is a small emotional exchange. Seeing a friend's vacation photos might spark joy, but it could also make you feel like you're missing out on something. Or maybe you come across a post about someone's success, and you start comparing it to your own life, feeling frustrated or insecure. The key to managing the emotional impact of social media is awareness. Being conscious of how certain posts or interactions make you feel can help you decide how to engage with it. Setting boundaries, like limiting screen time or unfollowing accounts that bring negativity, can make a big difference in protecting your emotional well-being. At the same time, social media can also be a force for good. It connects us with others, brings attention to important causes, and can even provide support when we need it. The trick is finding the balance, using social media in a way that adds value to your life without letting it control your emotions. Fact 31. How emotions affect your heartbeat. Ever noticed how your heart races when you're excited or anxious? Or how your heart feels like it drops when you're scared? It turns out there's a direct connection between your emotions and your heartbeat. It's not just something that happens in the movies. Our hearts literally respond to what we're feeling. When we experience strong emotions like fear or joy, our bodies go into action. Your brain sends signals to the rest of your body, and one of the first places this shows up is in your heart. For example, when you're stressed or frightened, your body activates the fight or flight response, releasing hormones like adrenaline. These hormones cause your heart to beat faster, prepping you for action. Your body is essentially getting ready to face the threat, whether it's real or imagined. On the flip side, when you're feeling calm, content, or relaxed, your heart rate slows down. Your body enters a state of rest and recovery. It's why, after a long day, when you finally unwind, you feel your heartbeat steady and your body relax. So, the next time you feel your heart racing in response to an emotion, remember, it's your body's way of reacting to what's going on inside. The great thing is that by practicing techniques like deep breathing or mindfulness, you can actively influence your heart rate and bring your body back into a more relaxed state, helping manage the physical effects of your emotions. Fact 32, the role of cortisol stress is something we all face, right? Whether it's work deadlines, personal challenges, or just life's little surprises, stress is pretty much unavoidable. But have you ever wondered what's actually happening inside your body when you're stressed? The answer lies in a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is often referred to as the stress hormone because it's released by the adrenal glands in response to stress. When you face a stressful situation, your body produces cortisol to help you respond quickly by raising your blood sugar, increasing your metabolism, and getting your heart rate going. It's part of your body's natural fight or flight response, giving you the energy and focus to deal with whatever's coming your way. But here's the catch. While cortisol is helpful in short bursts, prolonged stress can keep your cortisol levels elevated for long periods. This can lead to a whole host of issues like weakened immune function, digestive problems, and even weight gain. Over time, chronic stress and elevated cortisol can take a toll on your body, leaving you feeling drained and unhealthy. The good news is that you can manage cortisol levels with things like relaxation techniques, exercise, and mindfulness. By taking the time to calm your mind and body, you help reduce the long-term effects of stress on your health, keeping cortisol in check and your body feeling more balanced. Fact 33. The connection between emotions and breathing. Have you ever tried to take a deep breath when you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious? It turns out that simple act of breathing deeply is more powerful than we often realize. Breathing isn't just about getting air into our lungs, it's closely tied to how we feel emotionally. When we're stressed or anxious, our breathing tends to become shallow and rapid, which signals to our body that we're in a state of alert. But when we take slow, deep breaths, it sends the opposite message, that it's time to relax. This deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming the body down. It's like flipping a switch from fight or flight to rest and digest. This connection between emotions and breathing is part of what makes deep breathing so effective in managing emotional states. When we consciously slow down our breath, we help reduce feelings of anxiety, stress, or anger. It's a simple yet powerful tool that anyone can use in moments of emotional overwhelm. And the best part? You don't need anything fancy. Just a few deep breaths can help restore balance in your body and mind. So next time you feel your emotions rising, pause, take a deep breath, and let your body return to a more peaceful state. You might be surprised at how much control you have over your emotions with just a few minutes of mindful breathing. Fact 34. Impact of emotions on immune function. It's no secret that stress can affect your body. But did you know that your emotions can have a direct impact on your immune system? It's true. When you're feeling stressed, anxious, or depressed, your body's ability to fight off illness can actually decrease. Here's how it works. When you're stressed, your body produces cortisol, the stress hormone we talked about earlier. While cortisol can be helpful in the short term, prolonged stress can suppress your immune system, making it harder for your body to fight off infections or recover from illness. On the flip side, positive emotions like happiness, love, and gratitude can actually boost your immune system, helping you stay healthier. Studies have shown that people with strong emotional support systems tend to have better immune function and are less likely to get sick. That's because positive emotions help lower cortisol levels, reduce inflammation, and encourage the production of immune-boosting cells. So, in a way, your emotional health is closely linked to your physical health. Taking care of your emotional well-being, whether through mindfulness, exercise, or social connection, can be just as important as eating healthy or getting enough sleep. By managing your emotions and reducing stress, you're also strengthening your body's ability to fight off illness and stay strong. Fact 35. Emotions and digestion. Have you ever felt butterflies in your stomach before a big event, or maybe experienced a knot in your stomach when you're anxious? It's not just a figure of speech. Your emotions can have a real effect on your digestive system. The connection between your brain and your gut is sometimes called the gut-brain axis, and it's incredibly powerful. When you experience emotions like stress, anxiety, or excitement, your brain sends signals to your digestive system, often leading to physical sensations. For example, stress can cause your stomach to tighten, leading to indigestion, nausea, or even changes in appetite. On the flip side, positive emotions can help your digestion work more smoothly. When you're relaxed and happy, your body is in a state that promotes healthy digestion. It's why you often hear about the benefits of feeling calm before eating, or the importance of eating mindfully. When we're not in a state of emotional turmoil, our bodies can more easily process food and absorb nutrients. Managing emotions like stress can have a direct effect on how well our digestive system functions. Practicing relaxation techniques, such as deep breathing or mindfulness, can help calm the body and support healthy digestion. So if you've ever felt that emotional knot in your stomach, remember that it's not just in your head. Your emotions are literally affecting your gut. Fact 36. Muscle tension and emotional stress. Ever noticed how your shoulders feel tight after a stressful day, or how your jaw clenches when you're angry or anxious? It's not just in your head. Emotions can have a direct, physical effect on your body. Muscle tension is one of the most common ways that stress and strong emotions show up physically. When we experience stress or anxiety, our bodies enter a state of heightened alertness, known as the fight or flight response. This causes muscles to tighten as your body prepares to either fight off a threat or run away. While this response was vital for our ancestors in life-threatening situations, it's not as helpful when we're simply stressed about work or relationships. Over time, this constant muscle tension can lead to discomfort, headaches, or even chronic pain in areas like the neck, shoulders, and back. What's interesting is that you might not even be aware of it until you take a moment to notice, like when you finally relax after a long day and realize how much tension has built up in your body. The good news is that once you're aware of how emotions affect your muscles, you can take steps to relieve the tension. Stretching, deep breathing, or even just pausing for a few minutes to check in with your body can help release that physical stress. It's a reminder that our emotional well-being is deeply connected to our physical health, and taking care of both is key to feeling good. Fact 37. Endorphins and their effect on mood. Ever felt a burst of happiness after finishing a workout, laughing with friends, or even just eating your favourite food? That's endorphins at work. Endorphins are often referred to as the feel-good chemicals in the brain, and they play a huge role in regulating our mood and emotional state. When endorphins are released, they bind to receptors in the brain and help to reduce pain, stress, and anxiety. But it's not just about feeling good in the moment. Endorphins also help boost your overall emotional resilience. Regular activities that trigger the release of endorphins, like exercise, laughing, or even certain types of social interactions, can help you build a buffer against everyday stress. Endorphins are also natural mood enhancers. When you're feeling low or down, engaging in activities that make you happy can help elevate your mood and give you a natural energy boost. Whether it's taking a brisk walk, watching a funny show, or hugging a loved one, those simple pleasures can trigger the release of endorphins, making you feel more relaxed and emotionally balanced. The cool thing about endorphins is that you don't have to go out of your way to feel their effects. Even small, everyday moments, like playing with your pet, dancing to your favourite song, or having a heartfelt conversation, can trigger endorphin release and improve your mood. It's a simple reminder that taking care of your emotional well-being can be as easy as enjoying the little things in life. Fact 38. How anger triggers the nervous system. Anger, it's that intense, fiery emotion that can feel almost overwhelming. But have you ever stopped to think about how your body responds when you're angry? When we get angry, it's not just a mental reaction. Our nervous system kicks into high gear, triggering a series of physical responses that prepare us for action. When you get angry, your body activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the fight or flight response. This causes your heart rate to increase, your muscles to tense, and your body to flood with adrenaline. It's like your body is preparing for a physical confrontation, even if you're just dealing with a frustrating situation at work or a disagreement with a friend. But it's not just the obvious symptoms, like the tightness in your chest or the heat in your face. Anger also affects other systems in your body, like increasing your blood pressure and affecting your digestion. This is why prolonged anger or frequent outbursts can be harmful to your health, leading to long-term issues like heart disease or digestive problems. The good news is that you can manage the physical effects of anger. Learning to recognize your anger early and practicing calming techniques like deep breathing or mindfulness can help reset your nervous system and reduce the intensity of the physical responses. It's all about finding a balance, expressing your anger constructively while keeping your body calm and centered. Fact 39. Adrenaline and emotion. Adrenaline is one of those hormones we usually associate with intense moments, like when you're in danger, about to perform in front of a crowd, or even just running late for a meeting. But what's really interesting is how this rush of energy isn't just for extreme situations. Adrenaline is closely tied to our emotions, especially those that trigger high stress, fear, or excitement. When you experience intense emotions, whether it's fear, excitement, or even joy, your body releases adrenaline. This gives you a burst of energy, increasing your heart rate, making your breathing quicker, and sharpening your focus. This reaction helps you react quickly to a situation, whether you're running to catch the bus or preparing for an important presentation. Adrenaline is part of our body's natural fight-or-flight response, designed to help us deal with threats. But it's also a crucial part of how we process intense emotions. Think about it. When you're excited or anxious, adrenaline helps you power through the experience with heightened awareness and energy. However, while adrenaline is helpful in short bursts, constant or prolonged emotional intensity can lead to stress and burnout. It's why managing intense emotions is so important. Finding ways to ground yourself through relaxation techniques or mindful practices can help bring your body back to balance, preventing the adrenaline overload that comes from chronic emotional stress. Fact 40. The relaxation response. When life gets overwhelming, do you ever find yourself wishing you could just press a reset button to calm everything down? Well, guess what? Your body already has a built-in mechanism to do just that. It's called the relaxation response, and it's the opposite of the stress-induced fight or flight reaction. The relaxation response is your body's way of calming down after experiencing stress. It's triggered when you engage in calming activities, like deep breathing, meditation, or even just sitting quietly. When you activate this response, your heart rate slows down, your blood pressure drops, and your muscles relax. Your body enters a state of calm, and you feel more grounded and centered. What's really cool is that you can activate the relaxation response whenever you need it. Even just a few minutes of deep breathing or mindfulness can help you shift from a stressed-out state to one of peace and relaxation. The best part? This response is not only good for your emotional health, but it's also great for your physical well-being. It helps reduce stress hormones, supports your immune system, and improves overall health. So, if you're ever feeling overwhelmed, try activating the relaxation response. Take a few deep breaths, close your eyes, and let your body shift into a state of calm. It's a simple yet powerful tool for managing the emotional chaos that life sometimes throws at us. Fact 41. Sleep and emotional well-being. Ever noticed how your emotions can affect your sleep? When you're feeling stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, getting a good night's rest can feel impossible. That's because emotional health and sleep quality are more closely linked than we often realize. When you're emotionally stressed, your mind is constantly active, processing feelings, worries, and what-if scenarios. This mental chatter can make it difficult to wind down at night, leaving you tossing and turning instead of drifting peacefully into sleep. Stress and anxiety elevate cortisol levels, the stress hormone, which keeps you alert and makes it harder for your body to relax into sleep mode. On the other hand, when you're emotionally well, your body is more likely to enter a relaxed state at night. Positive emotions like calmness or contentment help reduce the production of stress hormones and promote the release of melatonin, the hormone responsible for regulating sleep. Essentially, when you're at peace emotionally, your body has a better chance of achieving deep restorative sleep. So if you're struggling with sleep, it might not just be about the hours you're in bed, it's about the emotional state you're in before hitting the pillow. Practices like journaling, mindfulness, or relaxation techniques before bed can help improve your emotional health and set you up for better sleep. Remember, emotional well-being isn't just about feeling good, it's about how that peace translates into your rest and overall health. Fact 42. Mind-body connection in stress. It's something we all deal with, but have you ever stopped to think about how it affects your body long-term? When you're stressed, it doesn't just affect your emotions, it can actually have a physical impact on your health. The connection between the mind and body is powerful, and chronic stress is one of the clearest examples of that. When you're under stress, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are part of the body's fight or flight response, preparing you to handle immediate danger. But when stress is chronic, your body stays in this heightened state, which isn't great for your health. Over time, high cortisol levels can weaken your immune system, increase inflammation, and even disrupt your digestive system. Chronic stress has also been linked to heart disease, high blood pressure, and other serious health problems. It can cause muscle tension, headaches, and digestive issues. Essentially, your body is constantly in overdrive, unable to fully relax or recover. In addition to physical symptoms, chronic stress can lead to emotional exhaustion, affecting your ability to cope with everyday challenges. The good news? By learning how to manage stress through techniques like mindfulness, exercise, and proper sleep, you can break the cycle and reduce the impact stress has on your body. Taking time to relax and de-stress isn't just good for your mind, it's essential for your body's health as well. Fact 43. The role of dopamine. Have you ever had a moment when everything just felt right? A burst of joy, excitement, or pure happiness? That feeling is largely thanks to dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter in the brain. Dopamine plays a huge role in how we experience pleasure, motivation, and reward, making it one of the most important chemicals in our emotional landscape. Dopamine is released when we experience something pleasurable, like eating your favorite food, achieving a goal, or even receiving a compliment. It gives us that sense of satisfaction and reinforces the behavior that led to the positive experience. In this way, dopamine is a motivator, encouraging us to seek out things that make us feel good. But dopamine isn't just about pleasure. It's also tied to our ability to feel motivated and focused. When dopamine levels are balanced, we're more likely to feel engaged in our daily activities, whether that's work, hobbies, or social interactions. Low dopamine levels, on the other hand, can lead to feelings of apathy, lack of motivation, and even depression. That's why taking care of your emotional well-being through activities that bring you joy, like exercise, creativity, or spending time with loved ones, can boost dopamine levels and improve your mood. When you find things that truly make you feel good, you're also supporting your brain's ability to experience and sustain happiness. Fact 44. Why tears are therapeutic. Crying. It's one of those things we often try to avoid, but did you know that tears are actually therapeutic? When we experience intense emotions like sadness, frustration, or even joy, our bodies sometimes respond by crying. It's our natural emotional release valve. And as it turns out, crying doesn't just make us feel better emotionally, it has physical benefits too. When we cry, our bodies release a mix of chemicals that help to reduce stress. Emotional tears, the kind we shed when we're upset, contain higher levels of stress hormones like cortisol, so crying helps to literally flush these stresses out of our system. That's why you might feel a sense of relief after a good cry. It's your body's way of detoxing from emotional tension. Crying also activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps the body calm down after experiencing emotional stress. It's like your body is sending a signal to itself to slow down and recover, restoring balance to your emotional state. But crying isn't just about relief. It's also a form of self-care. It's a way for us to process difficult emotions, release pent-up feelings, and move forward with a clearer mind. So next time you feel like crying, don't hold it in. Letting those tears flow is a healthy, natural way to reset emotionally and start the healing process. Fact 45. The relationship between sleep and mood. Have you ever noticed how your mood can shift depending on how well you've slept? It's no coincidence. The relationship between sleep and mood is closely connected, and the quality of your sleep can have a huge impact on how you feel emotionally during the day. When you get a good night's sleep, you wake up feeling more balanced and able to handle whatever comes your way. Sleep helps regulate your emotions, making you more patient, calm, and clear-headed. On the flip side, if you haven't slept well, your mood is likely to suffer. Lack of sleep can increase feelings of irritability, anxiety, and even sadness, making it harder to stay positive throughout the day. Sleep is essential for emotional processing. During deep sleep, your brain works to process and store memories, including emotional ones. If you're sleep-deprived, your brain doesn't get the chance to fully work through your emotions, which can lead to mood swings and heightened emotional reactions. Chronic sleep deprivation has even been linked to conditions like depression and anxiety. So, getting enough rest isn't just about feeling physically rested. It's about maintaining a stable, positive mood. By prioritizing sleep and creating healthy bedtime routines, you're taking care of your emotional health too. A good night's sleep helps restore balance, making you better equipped to handle the ups and downs of life with a clear mind and positive attitude. Fact 46. Positive emotions and longevity. We all know that life can get stressful, but did you know that how you feel emotionally can actually affect how long you live? It's true. Positive emotions like joy, love, and contentment have a profound impact on your overall health, and they might even add years to your life. Studies have shown that people who experience more positive emotions tend to have lower levels of stress and a stronger immune system. Joy and contentment, for example, have been linked to lower blood pressure, reduced inflammation, and improved heart health. It's like positive emotions create a protective barrier around your body, helping it stay healthier longer. Love is another big player when it comes to longevity. Strong social connections, like those you get from family and friends, provide emotional support and increase happiness. People with strong, loving relationships tend to live longer because they have better mental health and less stress. Plus, love and affection release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which promotes feelings of well-being and reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. So, cultivating joy and love in your life isn't just about feeling good in the moment. It's about giving your body the best chance at living a longer, healthier life. Embracing positive emotions can actually be a form of self-care, not just for your mind, but for your body too. Fact 47. How emotions affect your skin. Have you ever noticed that when you're stressed or anxious, your skin seems to react? Maybe you break out, feel more sensitive, or notice a dull complexion. Well, it turns out there's a real connection between emotions and the health of your skin. When we experience stress or strong emotions like anger, fear, or anxiety, our bodies release hormones like cortisol. Cortisol in particular can increase oil production in the skin, leading to clogged pores and breakouts. It also contributes to inflammation, which can lead to conditions like eczema, psoriasis, or rosacea. Essentially, when you're stressed, your skin can take a hit because your body's natural response is to go into fight or flight mode, which affects your skin's normal function. But it's not just stress that affects your skin. Positive emotions like joy and relaxation can actually benefit your complexion. When you're calm and happy, your body is in a more balanced state, and blood flow to your skin improves. This can lead to a healthier, more radiant glow. Plus, emotions like love and laughter trigger the release of oxytocin and endorphins, which help your skin look and feel better by reducing stress. So while good skincare is important, taking care of your emotional health is just as crucial for maintaining a healthy complexion. If you want better skin, consider managing stress with mindfulness, relaxation, or hobbies that make you feel good. After all, a healthy mind often leads to healthy skin. Fact 48. Neuroplasticity and emotional learning. Have you ever heard the saying, "You can teach an old dog new tricks"? Well, it turns out that your brain is pretty much the same. It can change and adapt no matter how old you are. This ability of the brain to rewire itself is called neuroplasticity, and it plays a big role in how we process and learn from emotional experiences. When we go through emotional experiences, whether they're joyful, sad, or stressful, our brain forms new neural connections. For example, when we experience something positive like love or joy, our brain strengthens the pathways that associate those emotions with positive outcomes. On the flip side, negative emotions like fear or sadness can create stronger neural connections related to stress and anxiety. Neuroplasticity is how we learn from our emotional experiences and adapt over time. It's like your brain is constantly updating itself based on what you go through emotionally. This means that, with time and practice, we can retrain our brains to handle emotions more effectively. For example, practicing gratitude or mindfulness can help you create new, positive pathways in the brain, making it easier to manage stress or anxiety in the future. So, the more we experience and reflect on our emotions, the more our brain rewires itself, helping us grow emotionally and cope better with life's challenges. The idea of neuroplasticity offers hope. No matter your past experiences, you can learn to adapt and grow emotionally. Fact 49. The role of oxytocin. Oxytocin, the love hormone. You've probably heard of it before, but did you know just how powerful it is when it comes to our emotional health? This little hormone plays a huge role in how we bond with others and experience feelings of trust, love, and connection. Oxytocin is released during moments of physical affection, like hugging, cuddling, or even holding hands. It's the hormone that helps strengthen the emotional bonds between people. That warm, safe feeling you get when you're surrounded by loved ones. That's oxytocin at work. What's fascinating is that oxytocin doesn't just make us feel good emotionally. It also has physical benefits. When oxytocin is released, it helps lower stress and anxiety, reduces blood pressure, and even promotes healing. It's like nature's way of keeping us calm and grounded. That's why acts of kindness, like hugging a friend or spending quality time with family, not only boost your mood, but also help improve your overall health. The more we engage in activities that promote the release of oxytocin, the better we feel emotionally. Whether it's bonding with friends, pets, or family, fostering close connections and affectionate interactions can make a world of difference in our mental and physical health. Fact 50. Emotion-driven appetite. Have you ever felt like eating when you're sad or stressed? Maybe you reach for comfort food when you're feeling down, or you have trouble eating when you're nervous or anxious. Your emotions can have a big impact on your appetite, and it's all linked to the way your brain processes emotions. When you're stressed or anxious, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol can trigger cravings for high-calorie, comfort foods because your brain associates these foods with a quick emotional fix. This is often referred to as emotional eating. The problem is, emotional eating can sometimes lead to overeating or making unhealthy food choices, which can affect both your emotional and physical health. On the other hand, when you're feeling happy and content, your appetite tends to be more balanced. You're more likely to listen to your body's true hunger cues rather than eating to cope with your emotions. In fact, positive emotions like joy and love can promote healthy eating habits by encouraging mindful eating, where you pay attention to what your body truly needs. Recognizing the link between emotions and appetite can help you make more mindful choices about food. Instead of eating out of stress, sadness, or boredom, try to find other ways to cope, like going for a walk, talking to a friend, or practicing deep breathing. When you manage your emotions in healthy ways, your body can better regulate its appetite, leading to improved physical and emotional well-being. Fact 51. The link between anxiety and emotions anxiety. It's that overwhelming feeling of unease, a tight knot in your stomach, and racing thoughts that can feel completely out of your control. But did you know that anxiety is often closely tied to our emotions? In fact, anxiety is an emotional response to stress, uncertainty, or perceived threats, even if those threats aren't always obvious. When we're anxious, it's like our brains are stuck in a state of alert. We start to overthink, imagining worst-case scenarios, even when there's no real danger. This emotional roller coaster is often triggered by underlying feelings of fear, worry, or insecurity. Whether it's a stressful situation at work, a difficult conversation, or a major life change, emotions like fear, stress, and doubt can set off anxiety. But what's really happening in our brains during anxiety is that our emotional centers, like the amygdala, are working overtime, sending out signals that make us feel on edge. This triggers physical responses in the body, like rapid heartbeats, shallow breathing, and muscle tension, as part of the fight or flight reaction. The good news is, once you understand the emotional triggers of anxiety, you can work with them. Practicing mindfulness, relaxation, or focusing on positive emotions can help reset your emotional response. By recognizing what's causing the anxiety, whether it's fear, worry, or stress, you can start to address it in a more constructive way. It's all about giving yourself the tools to manage those emotional triggers and ultimately regain control over your mind and body. Fact 52. Depression and emotional numbness. Depression is often described as feeling like a heavy weight on your chest, a deep sadness that doesn't seem to lift. But for many people, depression also brings with it something even harder to describe: emotional numbness. It's that sense of disconnect, where nothing feels quite right, and you're just going through the motions, feeling emotionally flat. Emotional numbness can be one of the most frustrating symptoms of depression. When you're feeling numb, it's like your emotions are turned off. You might not feel joy, sadness, or even anger in the same way you used to. It's as if your emotional system is overwhelmed or exhausted, leaving you feeling disconnected from everything around you. The connection between emotional exhaustion and depression is crucial. When we experience ongoing emotional stress, like from grief, trauma, or even chronic stress, our emotional systems become drained. This depletion can lead to emotional numbness, where it's hard to feel anything at all. It's the brain's way of protecting itself from overwhelming emotions. But over time, it can also make it harder to connect with others or find meaning in life. If you're experiencing emotional numbness or depression, it's important to recognize that it's not just about feeling sad or down. It's a real emotional response to emotional exhaustion. Therapy, self-care, and support from loved ones can help you gradually reconnect with your feelings and begin healing. You don't have to go through it alone, and there are ways to feel better, even when it feels impossible. Fact 53. The power of positive thinking. Have you ever heard someone say, "Look on the bright side," and thought, "Yeah, right"? It's easy to brush off the idea of positive thinking, especially when life feels tough. But here's the truth. Optimism and positive thinking aren't just feel-good buzzwords. They can actually change the way we experience emotions and improve our overall mental health. Positive thinking is about focusing on the good, even when things aren't perfect. It's not about ignoring problems or pretending everything is fine. It's about training your mind to look for solutions, opportunities, and reasons to feel grateful, even in difficult situations. When you approach life with a positive mindset, you're more likely to see challenges as opportunities to grow rather than threats to your happiness. What's interesting is that positive thinking actually alters how our brains respond to stress. When you practice optimism, your brain becomes better at managing stress and regulating emotions. Instead of spiraling into anxiety or frustration when faced with a challenge, you start to approach it with a sense of calm and problem solving. Over time, this shifts your emotional responses, making you more resilient and able to handle stress with greater ease. It's not about being happy all the time, it's about creating a mindset that helps you navigate life's ups and downs with a sense of hope and resilience. By focusing on the positive, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing your emotional experience for the better. Fact 54. How to use meditation to manage emotions. Emotions can sometimes feel like a storm inside your mind, chaotic, overwhelming, and hard to control. When life feels like it's constantly throwing curveballs at you, it's easy to get caught up in a whirlwind of emotions. That's where meditation comes in. It's one of the most powerful tools for calming the mind and managing emotional turmoil. Meditation is like a pause button for your thoughts. It allows you to take a step back, observe your emotions, and create some space between what you're feeling and how you respond. The act of focusing on your breath, sitting quietly, or even using guided meditations helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for relaxation and calm. One of the beautiful things about meditation is that it doesn't require any special skills or experience. You don't need to be a yoga expert or meditate for hours to feel the benefits. Just a few minutes of mindfulness or deep breathing can help clear your mind, reduce stress, and improve emotional clarity. It's a practice of bringing yourself back to the present moment, rather than being swept away by past regrets or future worries. By making meditation a regular part of your routine, you can better manage your emotions, reduce anxiety, and bring more peace into your day-to-day life. It's like giving your mind a break so you can face the world with more emotional balance and clarity. Fact 55. The emotional impact of trauma. Trauma, whether it's from a difficult childhood, a major loss, or a life-changing event, leaves deep emotional scars that can affect our behavior, even years later. The emotional impact of trauma isn't just about the memories or the pain. It's about how those past experiences shape the way we react to situations, relationships, and even our own emotions. When we experience trauma, our brain and body go into survival mode. This can lead to heightened emotions like fear, anxiety, or anger, which may persist long after the traumatic event has passed. These emotional responses can influence how we interact with others, handle stress, and process our feelings. For example, someone who has experienced betrayal or abandonment might have trouble trusting others, even if they don't consciously realize it. The good news is that trauma doesn't have to control your life forever. By recognizing how past emotional wounds affect your behavior, you can begin to heal. Therapy, mindfulness, and other healing practices can help you process trauma in a safe and healthy way. It's about understanding that while the past shapes who we are, it doesn't have to dictate how we live our lives moving forward. Healing from trauma takes time and support, but it's possible. By facing those past wounds and understanding their emotional impact, you can begin to take back control of your life, your emotions, and your future. Fact 56. Overthinking and emotional exhaustion. Ever caught yourself spiraling into a loop of overthinking? You replay a conversation, rethink every decision, or imagine every possible scenario, and before you know it, you're mentally drained. Overthinking might seem harmless at first, but it can actually lead to something much more serious: emotional exhaustion. When we overanalyze situations, our minds are constantly working overtime, processing every detail, trying to predict outcomes, and worrying about what could go wrong. This constant mental activity triggers stress hormones like cortisol, which can leave you feeling physically and emotionally drained. Instead of solving problems, overthinking often leads to paralysis by analysis, where you end up stuck, unable to move forward. Over time, this mental strain wears down your emotional resilience. It becomes harder to stay calm, to think clearly, or to find solutions, leading to burnout. You might start to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or disconnected from your feelings because you've spent so much time analyzing them that you've lost touch with your emotional needs. The trick is learning how to break the cycle of overthinking. Mindfulness, deep breathing, or even simply taking a break to focus on something else can help quiet the mind and reduce emotional exhaustion. Recognizing when you're overthinking and giving yourself permission to let go of the what-ifs is key to preserving your emotional energy and well-being. Fact 57. Emotional resilience. Life is full of ups and downs. There's no way to avoid setbacks, whether it's a failed project, a breakup, or a personal loss. But what separates those who thrive from those who struggle is emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the ability to bounce back after facing emotional challenges, and it's a skill that can be developed. When we face adversity, our emotional resilience is tested. The first reaction might be to feel overwhelmed or defeated, but resilient people have a way of reframing their mindset. Instead of focusing on the setback, they see it as a learning opportunity, a chance to grow stronger. It's not about avoiding negative emotions. Resilience is about accepting those emotions and finding a way to move forward despite them. Developing emotional resilience doesn't happen overnight. It requires self-awareness, patience, and practice. One of the keys to building resilience is cultivating a strong sense of self-worth and having a positive, growth-oriented mindset. Resilient people also tend to seek support when needed, whether it's through friends, family, or professional help. By learning to cope with setbacks and focusing on the lessons they bring, you can build the emotional resilience to handle whatever life throws your way. Every challenge becomes an opportunity for growth, making you more prepared to navigate the future with confidence and strength. Fact 58. Social anxiety and its emotional toll. Social anxiety, it's that uncomfortable feeling that hits when you're in a social setting, like a party, a meeting, or even just chatting with someone you don't know well. It's more than just being shy. It's an intense fear of being judged, embarrassed, or not measuring up, and it can take a huge emotional toll. When you're anxious in social situations, your body goes into a state of alert. Your heart might race, your palms sweat, and you might even feel dizzy or nauseous. These physical symptoms are your body's response to the perceived threat, but in a social context there's no real danger. The fear is often self-created, stemming from worries about how others perceive you. The emotional toll of social anxiety is heavy. It can make you avoid social events, withdraw from relationships, or feel isolated. Over time, this can lead to feelings of frustration, sadness, and loneliness, as you want to connect with others, but feel trapped by your own emotions. Managing social anxiety takes time and practice. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and mindfulness are often effective tools for breaking the cycle of negative thoughts and physical anxiety. Learning to challenge the fear and gradually expose yourself to social situations can help you build confidence and ease the emotional burden. It's important to be kind to yourself through this process, knowing that overcoming social anxiety is a journey, not a quick fix. Fact 59. Mood swings and hormonal influence. Ever had those days when your emotions seem to swing from one extreme to the other, and you can't quite figure out why? You're not alone. Mood swings are a common experience, and one of the biggest culprits behind these emotional shifts is hormones. Hormones play a major role in regulating our emotions. For example, during menstruation, pregnancy, or menopause, hormonal fluctuations can cause significant changes in mood. Similarly, conditions like thyroid imbalances or stress-related hormones can also affect how we feel. When our hormone levels are out of balance, we might feel more irritable, anxious, or sad without really understanding why. What's interesting is that mood swings don't just happen during major life events. Even everyday factors like lack of sleep, poor diet, or stress can cause hormonal shifts that affect how we feel. It's like our emotional states are deeply connected to the balance of hormones in our body. If you're experiencing frequent mood swings, it's important to consider your overall health. Taking care of your body through proper nutrition, regular exercise, and stress management can help keep your hormones in check. If mood swings are severe or persistent, it might be worth discussing with a healthcare professional who can help you find a solution that works for you. The more we understand the role hormones play in our emotions, the better we can manage them. Fact 60. The impact of PTSD on emotional health. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is often thought of as something that only veterans or those who've experienced extreme trauma deal with. But PTSD can affect anyone who has gone through a deeply distressing event, whether it's a car accident, childhood abuse, or the loss of a loved one. The emotional impact of PTSD is profound. People with PTSD often experience flashbacks, nightmares, and intense emotional reactions to reminders of the traumatic event. These reactions can cause anxiety, depression, and difficulty in managing everyday emotions. It's as if the past trauma continuously shapes their emotional responses in the present. What's crucial to understand is that PTSD isn't just about memories. It's about how those memories affect a person's emotional health. PTSD can make it harder to trust others, to feel safe, or even to enjoy life. It often leads to emotional numbness, irritability, and isolation as people try to protect themselves from the pain. Healing from PTSD is a long process, but it is possible. Therapy, particularly trauma-focused therapies like EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, can help individuals process their traumatic experiences and regain control over their emotional lives. Support from loved ones and a commitment to self-care also play a critical role in recovery. It's important to remember that PTSD is not a sign of weakness. It's a natural response to an unnatural experience, and with the right tools, support, and time, it's possible to heal and rebuild emotional health. Fact 61. Self-compassion and emotional healing. How often do you show yourself the same kindness that you'd show a close friend who's struggling? If you're like most people, probably not as often as you should. We tend to be our own toughest critics, always striving for perfection, and sometimes beating ourselves up when we fall short. But here's the truth. Self-compassion is a powerful tool for emotional healing. Self-compassion is about treating yourself with the same understanding, kindness, and patience that you would offer to a loved one going through a tough time. Instead of berating yourself for mistakes or flaws, you embrace them as part of being human. It's about acknowledging that just like everyone else, you deserve love, care, and forgiveness. When we practice self-compassion, we reduce the emotional distress that comes from self-judgment and negative self-talk. It helps soothe our inner critic and create space for healing. Self-compassion is especially powerful during times of emotional hardship, like when we're feeling overwhelmed or have experienced a setback. Instead of pushing ourselves to get over it, we give ourselves permission to feel, process, and heal in our own time. The emotional benefits of self-compassion are profound. It fosters emotional resilience, reduces anxiety, and helps us feel more connected to ourselves and others. By treating ourselves with kindness, we make it easier to heal emotionally and move forward with greater strength and self-acceptance. Fact 62. Managing emotional overload. Sometimes, life just gets too much, right? Between work, relationships, and everything else, it can feel like your emotions are constantly on overdrive. Whether it's stress, anxiety, or just feeling burnt out, emotional overload happens to all of us. The good news is you don't have to be consumed by it. There are ways to manage overwhelming emotions and regain balance. First off, it's important to recognize when you're reaching your emotional limit. If you're feeling irritable, fatigued, or disconnected, those might be signs that you need to step back and take a break. One of the most effective ways to manage emotional overload is by practicing deep breathing. Taking a few moments to breathe deeply can help reset your nervous system and calm your mind. Another key tip is setting boundaries. When you're overwhelmed, it's easy to say yes to everything, but that only adds to the stress. It's okay to say no or ask for help. Delegating tasks or taking time for yourself is essential for emotional well-being. Lastly, try practicing mindfulness. Grounding yourself in the present moment can break the cycle of overthinking and reduce emotional chaos. Whether it's through meditation, going for a walk, or simply taking a few minutes to check in with yourself, mindfulness helps you regain perspective and reset. Remember, emotional overload is temporary. By acknowledging it and taking practical steps to manage your emotions, you can find balance and restore your energy. Fact 63. How gratitude affects emotions. Gratitude. It's more than just saying thank you now and then. It's about actively recognizing the good things in your life and appreciating them, even on the tough days. Practicing gratitude has a powerful effect on our emotional well-being, and it can completely shift the way we experience our emotions. When we take time to reflect on what we're grateful for, we trigger the release of dopamine and serotonin, those feel-good neurotransmitters in the brain. This chemical boost helps us feel happier, more positive, and more emotionally balanced. It's like a natural antidote to negative emotions like stress, frustration, or anxiety. What's fascinating is that practicing gratitude doesn't just make us feel good in the moment. Over time, it can actually help rewire our brains to focus on the positive. The more we practice gratitude, the more we begin to notice and appreciate the little joys in life, which makes it easier to stay positive even when things aren't going perfectly. Gratitude also has a social benefit. When we express gratitude to others, we strengthen our relationships and foster feelings of connection. Whether it's thanking someone for their help or just appreciating the people in your life, gratitude builds stronger emotional bonds. So, if you're feeling stuck in a negative emotional cycle, try taking a moment each day to think about what you're grateful for. It's a simple practice that can have a profound impact on your emotional health and happiness. Fact 64. The role of forgiveness in emotional health. Forgiveness. It's a word we often hear but don't always fully understand. Forgiving someone who's hurt us can seem impossible, especially when the pain feels fresh. But what if I told you that forgiveness isn't just about letting someone else off the hook? It's actually about freeing yourself from emotional pain and improving your own mental health. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning someone's actions or forgetting what happened. It's about releasing the emotional hold that the hurt has over you. When we hold on to grudges or resentment, we carry around that negativity, which can weigh us down emotionally. Forgiveness is the act of letting go of that burden and choosing peace over pain. The emotional benefits of forgiveness are significant. Research shows that people who practice forgiveness have lower levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. They also experience better physical health, including lower blood pressure and reduced risk of heart disease. It's like forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It lightens your emotional load, helps you move on, and makes room for positive emotions like compassion and empathy. Forgiveness isn't easy, but it's one of the most empowering things you can do for your emotional health. It's a process, and it takes time, but when you let go of the past, you make space for healing and growth. In the end, forgiving others allows you to free your own heart from the weight of unresolved pain. Fact 65. How emotional health affects relationships. Ever noticed how your emotional state can influence the way you interact with others? Whether we realize it or not, our emotions are deeply interconnected with our relationships. When we're feeling good emotionally, we tend to be more open, patient, and understanding. But when we're stressed, anxious, or sad, those emotions can spill over into our interactions, affecting how we communicate and connect. Emotional health plays a huge role in the quality of our relationships. When we feel emotionally balanced, we're more likely to communicate effectively, listen actively, and express our needs clearly. This creates a stronger sense of connection and mutual understanding. On the other hand, when we're struggling emotionally, we might withdraw, lash out, or misunderstand others. These emotional reactions can create distance or conflict in relationships, making it harder to feel close and supported. The good news is that by taking care of our emotional health, we can improve our relationships. Practicing self-compassion, managing stress, and addressing emotional challenges head-on can help us bring our best selves to our connections with others. When we're emotionally healthy, we're better equipped to navigate relationship challenges, resolve conflicts, and offer support. Ultimately, emotional health isn't just important for us, it's crucial for the people we care about. By nurturing our own emotions, we create a healthier, more positive environment for the relationships that matter most. Fact 66. Understanding emotional burnout. Ever felt like you're running on empty, emotionally speaking? You go through the motions of your day, but inside everything feels like a blur, drained, exhausted, and disconnected. This is the reality of emotional burnout, a state of chronic emotional exhaustion that can happen when you've been under constant stress or emotional strain for an extended period of time. Emotional burnout happens when we give so much of ourselves to others, whether it's at work, in relationships, or in caregiving roles, that we start to deplete our emotional reserves. It's like trying to run a car on empty. At first you might feel like you can power through it, but eventually you run out of energy. When we don't take the time to recharge, burnout sets in, and it can leave us feeling apathetic, overwhelmed, and even detached from the things and people we care about. What makes burnout so dangerous is that it often goes unnoticed until it's too late. We push ourselves to keep going, thinking that taking a break or asking for help is a sign of weakness. But the truth is, burnout doesn't just affect your mental health, it affects your physical health too, leading to fatigue, sleep disturbances, and even illness. Recognizing the signs of burnout early on and taking steps to address it can prevent it from spiraling into something more serious. The key to avoiding emotional burnout is self-care. Setting boundaries, taking time to rest, and learning to say no when you're overwhelmed are all essential practices. By prioritizing your emotional health, you can prevent burnout and maintain the energy needed to keep doing what matters most to you. Fact 67. Coping strategies for emotional overwhelm. We've all been there, feeling like our emotions are just too much to handle. Whether it's work stress, relationship issues, or the pressures of daily life, emotional overwhelm can hit at any time. When it does, it's easy to feel like you're drowning in your feelings. The good news is that there are simple techniques to regain emotional balance and bring yourself back to center. First up, take a moment to breathe. Deep breathing exercises are one of the quickest ways to calm your mind and body when emotions feel overwhelming. Inhale slowly for a count of 4, hold for 4, and then exhale for 4. This helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which reduces stress and calms your emotional state. Another powerful technique is grounding yourself in the present moment. If you're feeling overwhelmed by emotions, take a moment to check in with your senses. What do you see, hear, or smell right now? Grounding exercises help you step out of the emotional whirlwind and bring your focus back to the present, reducing feelings of anxiety or panic. When emotions feel like too much to handle, try taking a break. Whether it's a quick walk outside, a few minutes of stretching, or just stepping away from a stressful situation, taking time for yourself can give you the space you need to recharge emotionally. And don't forget about self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when you're overwhelmed. Acknowledge that it's okay to feel what you're feeling and give yourself permission to take a step back and reset. Fact 68. Emotionally intelligent people and their relationships. Have you ever met someone who just gets you? Someone who knows exactly how to respond to your feelings, listens without judgment, and makes you feel understood? That's the magic of emotional intelligence, EQ. And it plays a huge role in how we connect with others, especially in relationships. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. People with high EQ are able to stay calm and composed in stressful situations, express their emotions in healthy ways, and empathize with the feelings of others. This makes them excellent communicators and deeply empathetic individuals. In relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, emotional intelligence is key. People with high EQ tend to have stronger, more supportive relationships because they can navigate difficult conversations, resolve conflicts with understanding, and show up with empathy and care. They understand that emotions are not just about how we feel, but how we express and respond to those feelings. The good news is, emotional intelligence can be developed. By becoming more self-aware, learning to manage your emotions, and practicing empathy, you can improve your emotional intelligence and build deeper, more meaningful connections with others. Fact 69. The benefits of journaling for emotional clarity. When life feels overwhelming or your emotions are all over the place, journaling can be a powerful tool to bring clarity and calm. It's like having a conversation with yourself on paper, a safe space to express what you're feeling without judgment or restraint. Writing down your emotions helps you process and make sense of them. Sometimes, when we're feeling emotionally charged, it can be hard to think clearly. But when you write about what you're going through, you give yourself the time and space to reflect, which helps organize your thoughts and reduce emotional confusion. Journaling also gives you a sense of control. When emotions feel out of control, writing helps you release some of that built-up tension. It's not about writing perfectly, it's about allowing yourself to express whatever comes to mind. Over time, journaling can also help you identify patterns in your emotions, giving you insight into what triggers certain feelings and how you might better cope with them. It doesn't matter if you journal every day or once in a while. The key is consistency and openness. Whether you're venting, reflecting, or practicing gratitude, journaling can be a simple yet powerful way to improve emotional clarity and promote healing. Fact 70. Therapy and emotional well-being. Therapy, there's still a stigma around it for many, but the truth is, therapy is one of the most effective ways to improve emotional well-being. Just like you'd go to a doctor when you're physically sick, seeing a therapist is about taking care of your mental and emotional health. Therapy provides a safe space to explore your emotions, understand where they're coming from, and work through any issues you might be facing. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, relationship struggles, or just need to talk to someone who isn't involved in your day-to-day life, therapy offers an unbiased perspective and valuable coping tools. One of the biggest benefits of therapy is learning to understand yourself better. A therapist can help you identify patterns in your thoughts and behaviors that might be affecting your emotional health. From there, they can guide you in developing strategies to handle stress, improve relationships, and build emotional resilience. But therapy isn't just for times of crisis. It's a great way to maintain emotional well-being even when life is going well. Regular sessions can help you stay grounded, build emotional tools, and improve your overall quality of life. Seeking therapy is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's about investing in your emotional health and well-being, something that's essential for living a balanced, fulfilling life. Fact 71. How emotions influence dream content. Ever woken up from a dream that felt so real, it left you wondering if it was connected to something you felt the day before? You might not realize it, but the emotions we experience during the day can have a big impact on our dreams at night. Our brains don't just turn off when we fall asleep. They continue processing everything we've experienced throughout the day. So if you had a stressful or emotional day, whether it was dealing with a difficult situation, feeling anxious, or even having a great moment of joy, those emotions are likely to show up in your dreams. For example, if you are frustrated or upset about something, your dream might reflect that by making you feel anxious, angry, or confused, even if you're not consciously thinking about it. Dreams are like emotional snapshots of our day-to-day lives. If you're going through a rough patch, you might notice that your dreams are filled with conflict or uncertainty. On the other hand, if you're feeling happy and content, your dreams may be more peaceful or even fantastical. The cool part is that by paying attention to our dreams, we can often get a glimpse of how our emotional state is affecting us, whether we're aware of it or not. They're like emotional barometers, helping us understand what we're processing even while we sleep. Fact 72. Nightmares and emotional health nightmares. They're those unsettling dreams that wake us up in the middle of the night, leaving us feeling scared or disturbed. But did you know that nightmares aren't just random? They're often a reflection of our emotional health and can provide insight into what's going on in our waking lives. Nightmares typically occur when we're dealing with unresolved emotions, stress, or trauma. For example, if you're feeling anxious or fearful about something in your life, you might dream about being chased, falling, or facing some kind of threat. These dreams might be your mind's way of trying to process those negative emotions. In some cases, nightmares can also be linked to deeper emotional issues, like grief, trauma, or unresolved conflict. If you're dealing with past emotional wounds, your subconscious mind may bring them up in the form of nightmares, trying to help you process and heal from those experiences. It's like your mind is using dreams to work through the emotions you haven't fully addressed during the day. The emotional toll of nightmares can be significant, leaving you feeling drained or anxious even after you wake up. However, understanding the emotional triggers behind your nightmares can help you address the underlying issues, whether that means seeking therapy, practicing relaxation techniques, or simply acknowledging what you're going through emotionally. Nightmares may not be easy to deal with, but they often point to areas of our emotional health that need attention. Fact 73. Dreams as emotional processing. Have you ever woken up from a dream and thought, "That was exactly how I was feeling yesterday"? It's not just a coincidence. Our minds use dreams to process emotions and work through unresolved feelings from the day. In fact, dreaming is one of the ways our brains attempt to make sense of complex emotions, thoughts, and experiences. When we sleep, our brain enters a phase called REM, rapid eye movement sleep, which is the stage where most dreaming occurs. During this time, the brain is actively processing emotional experiences, sorting through memories, and trying to make sense of everything we've gone through. The emotions we've experienced throughout the day, whether positive or negative, often surface in our dreams, helping us process and integrate those feelings. For example, if you've had an argument with someone, you might dream about the conflict or revisit the situation in a different way. Alternatively, if you're dealing with anxiety or fear, your dreams may bring up scenarios that feel similar to what you're worried about. This is your brain's way of working through unresolved emotions and trying to find a resolution. The beauty of this process is that it helps us release emotional tension, giving us a chance to heal. Sometimes, the resolution in a dream can feel empowering or comforting, even if it's just a symbolic way of letting go of stress or worry. By paying attention to your dreams, you can gain a better understanding of how your emotions are being processed, and possibly even find insights into how to deal with them more effectively. Fact 74. Sleep paralysis and emotional states. Sleep paralysis is one of those experiences that can feel downright terrifying. You wake up in the middle of the night unable to move, feeling trapped and sometimes even hallucinating. It's a frightening experience, but what's even more unsettling is that sleep paralysis is closely tied to emotional stress and fear. During sleep paralysis, your brain is essentially caught between sleep and wakefulness. Your body is still in a sleep state, but your mind becomes alert, creating a sense of paralysis. This can often happen when you're under high levels of stress or anxiety, or when you've experienced an emotional shock. In fact, sleep paralysis episodes are often more frequent when a person is dealing with a lot of emotional turmoil or hasn't been getting enough restful sleep. Fear is a major trigger. When you're stressed or anxious, your body stays on high alert, even while you're asleep. This can cause your brain to go into overdrive during sleep, making you more likely to experience sleep disturbances like paralysis. The fear and anxiety you feel during the day can carry over into your sleep, leaving you feeling trapped or powerless during these episodes. Managing stress and fear through relaxation techniques, therapy, or even better sleep hygiene can help reduce the frequency of sleep paralysis. By addressing the emotional triggers that lead to these disturbances, you can get back to a more peaceful, restful sleep. Fact 75. Lucid dreaming and emotional control. Lucid dreaming. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But it's a real phenomenon where the dreamer becomes aware that they're dreaming and can even control the dream. What's fascinating about lucid dreaming is that it can be a powerful tool for emotional control. When we experience difficult emotions, whether it's fear, anxiety, or stress, those feelings often show up in our dreams. But with lucid dreaming, you can take charge of the dream and alter its direction. For example, if you're having a nightmare or feeling overwhelmed in a dream, you can recognize that it's just a dream and change the scenario, creating a sense of empowerment and relief. Lucid dreaming allows you to confront your fears in a safe, controlled environment. If you're dealing with anxiety or unresolved emotions, practicing lucid dreaming can give you the opportunity to process those feelings in a way that feels less threatening. You might decide to face a fear head-on in your dream, or change the course of a negative dream to one that's more peaceful or uplifting. The emotional benefits of lucid dreaming are significant. It offers a way to actively work through emotions while sleeping, providing a form of emotional regulation and healing. With practice, you can develop better control over your dreams, which can translate into feeling more in control of your emotions in real life too. Fact 76. The connection between nighttime anxiety and dreams. Have you ever noticed how stress or anxiety during the day can sneak into your dreams at night? It's like your mind doesn't get the chance to rest, even when you're asleep. The connection between nighttime anxiety and dreams is real, and it's something many of us experience when emotional stress carries over into our sleep. When you're anxious or stressed, your brain is in a heightened state of alertness. This emotional tension doesn't magically disappear when you fall asleep. Instead, it often manifests in your dreams. You might dream about situations that make you anxious, replaying stressful scenarios, or feeling overwhelmed by fears and worries. It's like your mind continues processing those emotions, even as your body tries to rest. What's happening here is that emotional stress triggers the brain's fight or flight response, which affects the quality of your sleep. You might experience restless sleep, frequent awakenings, or even nightmares related to your worries. The good news is that understanding this connection can help you take steps to reduce nighttime anxiety. Practices like deep breathing, mindfulness, and a calming bedtime routine can help ease the emotional tension and improve your sleep quality. By managing stress during the day and creating a peaceful nighttime routine, you can reduce the emotional burden on your dreams and get more restful, restorative sleep. Fact 77. Healing dreams. Have you ever woken up from a dream feeling like you've just had an emotional breakthrough? It might sound strange, but dreams can actually play a role in emotional healing. While we sleep, our brains are busy processing the events and emotions we've experienced during the day, and sometimes dreams can serve as a form of emotional resolution. When we go through difficult experiences, whether it's a loss, stress, or emotional turmoil, our minds often use dreams to process those emotions. Healing dreams can sometimes help us work through unresolved feelings, offering closure or clarity on situations that have been weighing on us. For example, you might dream about confronting a difficult situation or having a conversation you never got to have in real life. While not all dreams are healing, many provide emotional insight. They allow us to express feelings we may not have fully processed while awake. Dream therapy, where people consciously reflect on their dreams and work through emotional issues, has even been used to help with trauma, grief, and anxiety. So, while dreams may seem mysterious, they're actually an important part of emotional healing. By paying attention to your dreams and using them as a tool for self-reflection, you can gain emotional clarity and find ways to heal from past wounds. Fact 78. Dreaming of loved ones. When we lose someone we love, the pain can feel overwhelming. But have you ever dreamed about them, and for a moment it felt like they were still with you? Dreaming of loved ones, especially those who have passed, is a common experience, and these dreams can provide comfort, closure, and insight into our emotional state. Dreams about loved ones often occur when we're processing grief or longing for the connection we once had. When we dream about someone we've lost, it's not just about remembering them. It's about how their memory continues to influence our emotions. These dreams can be vivid, emotional, and sometimes even feel like a form of communication, like the person is trying to say something to us or offer reassurance. Interestingly, dreaming of loved ones can also help us resolve lingering feelings of guilt, sadness, or unfinished business. The mind may use these dreams to process emotions that were never fully expressed, allowing us to let go of any emotional baggage tied to the relationship. Whether comforting or bittersweet, dreams of loved ones are an emotional experience that helps us cope with love and loss. They remind us that the emotional bonds we form don't disappear, even when the person is no longer physically present. Fact 79. The emotional impact of sleep deprivation. Have you ever noticed how everything feels worse when you're tired? Your patience is thinner, your mood is lower, and even small annoyances can feel like big problems. Lack of sleep doesn't just affect your physical health, it has a significant emotional impact as well. Sleep is essential for emotional regulation. When we sleep, our brains process emotions and consolidate memories, which helps us manage stress and balance our feelings. However, when we don't get enough sleep, the brain struggles to process emotions effectively. This can lead to increased irritability, anxiety, and even depression. Sleep deprivation also affects the way we respond to challenges. When you're well rested, you're better able to cope with stress and make rational decisions. But when you're sleep deprived, emotions like frustration or anger can be triggered more easily, and it becomes harder to think clearly. The good news is that improving your sleep can improve your emotional health. By prioritizing good sleep hygiene, like setting a regular bedtime, avoiding screens before bed, and creating a calming environment, you can support your emotional well-being and better manage stress. If you're feeling emotionally off, one of the first steps might be to take a closer look at your sleep habits. A good night's rest can do wonders for your emotional balance and overall mood. Fact 80. Napping and emotional recovery. Sometimes, when life feels emotionally overwhelming, all we need is a quick nap. A short nap, just 15 to 30 minutes, can provide a refreshing emotional boost, helping to reset our minds and emotions. Napping isn't just about catching up on lost sleep. It's about giving your body and brain a chance to recover from emotional strain. When we're emotionally stressed or tired, our bodies and minds are in a heightened state, making it harder to cope with everyday challenges. A nap can help break that cycle, allowing your nervous system to reset and bring your emotions back into balance. The beauty of napping is that it's a natural way to recover emotional energy. After a nap, many people report feeling more positive, focused, and able to handle their emotions more effectively. Naps also help reduce stress hormones like cortisol and can improve mood by promoting the release of endorphins, the feel-good chemicals in the brain. It's important to note that napping isn't a substitute for a good night's sleep, but it can certainly complement your overall emotional well-being. If you're feeling emotionally drained or overwhelmed, a quick nap might be just what you need to recharge and regain emotional clarity. Fact 81. How sleep affects emotional intelligence. Ever notice how, after a poor night's sleep, you feel more irritable less patient, or just generally out of tune with your emotions. That's because sleep plays a crucial role in emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our emotions. When we don't get enough rest, it becomes harder to respond to our emotions in a balanced way. Sleep helps regulate our emotional responses by allowing the brain to process and reset during the night. During deep sleep, the brain works to consolidate memories and manage emotional experiences from the day. This is why, when we're sleep deprived, we tend to be more reactive and less emotionally aware. It's harder to process feelings properly, and we may find ourselves overreacting or feeling more stressed than usual. The good news is that quality sleep improves emotional intelligence. When we're well rested, we're better able to read emotional cues from others, respond empathetically, and stay calm in challenging situations. Rest helps clear away the emotional fog, making it easier to regulate our moods and relate to others in a healthy, emotionally intelligent way. So getting enough sleep isn't just about feeling rested, it's about being emotionally present and aware too. Fact 82. Emotions. During sleep cycle stages. Did you know that the way we experience emotions during sleep changes throughout the night? As we cycle through different stages of sleep, from light sleep to deep sleep and REM, rapid eye movement sleep, our brains process emotions in different ways. Understanding these emotional shifts can shed light on how our mind works while we rest. During the earlier stages of sleep, especially light sleep, our brains begin to unwind and process the emotional events of the day. If you've had a stressful day, this is when your brain starts to deal with the emotional tension you've accumulated. Deep sleep is when the brain does its most restorative work, helping you recover emotionally and physically. This stage helps your body heal and recover, and it allows you to integrate emotional experiences in a way that helps you feel more balanced when you wake up. But it's during REM sleep that the most vivid dreams and intense emotional processing take place. This is when your brain revisits the emotions from the day, sometimes through dreams that help you work through unresolved feelings. If you're going through a stressful period, your REM sleep might be filled with dreams that reflect those emotions, giving your mind a chance to process and release them. So, sleep doesn't just help your body rest, it's an important part of emotional processing. Understanding the different stages of sleep and how they affect your emotions can help you prioritize rest as an essential part of emotional well-being. Fact 83. How nighttime anxiety affects your body. Have you ever gone to bed feeling perfectly fine, only to lie awake for hours, your mind racing with worry or anxiety? It's not just your mind that's affected by nighttime anxiety. Your body responds physically too. Anxiety at night can trigger a range of physical symptoms, leaving you feeling restless, tense, and emotionally drained by morning. When you're anxious, especially right before bed, your body enters a heightened state of alertness. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tense up, and your breathing becomes shallow. This fight or flight response, which is useful in emergencies, can disrupt your ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. If anxiety continues throughout the night, you may experience even more physical symptoms like sweating, a racing heart, or difficulty breathing. What's troubling is that this cycle of anxiety and physical stress can create a negative feedback loop. The more anxious you feel, the more your body reacts, and the more your body reacts, the more anxious you feel. This can lead to poor sleep quality, leaving you feeling emotionally exhausted the next day. The good news is that there are ways to break the cycle. Practicing relaxation techniques, like deep breathing or progressive muscle relaxation before bed, can help calm both your mind and body. By managing nighttime anxiety, you can reduce its physical impact and get the restful sleep you need for emotional recovery. Fact 84. The importance of rest for emotional healing. We all know how important sleep is for our physical health, but did you know that it's equally crucial for emotional healing? Whether you're recovering from a stressful event, emotional setback, or simply dealing with the demands of daily life, quality sleep plays a central role in restoring emotional balance. When we sleep, our brains work hard to process and integrate emotional experiences. This is especially true during REM sleep, when the brain consolidates memories and works through emotional challenges. Rest gives your mind the time and space it needs to heal from emotional pain, reduce stress, and restore emotional equilibrium. Without proper rest, emotional exhaustion can set in, making it harder to cope with daily stressors and putting your emotional health at risk. Rest also helps regulate the production of stress hormones like cortisol. When we're sleep deprived, cortisol levels rise, making us more prone to stress, anxiety, and irritability. On the other hand, quality sleep helps reduce cortisol levels, promoting feelings of calm and emotional well-being. It's a reminder that taking care of your emotional health requires more than just managing your feelings. It also means prioritizing restful sleep as a tool for healing. Fact 85. The emotional power of a good night's sleep. It's no secret that a good night's sleep can make a world of difference in how we feel. Have you ever woken up after a restful night and felt like you could take on the world? On the flip side, have you ever felt completely drained and emotionally off after a night of poor sleep? The connection between sleep and emotional health is profound, and it affects everything from your mood to your ability to cope with stress. When you get a full, restful night's sleep, your body and brain have the time they need to recharge and reset. Sleep helps balance your emotions by restoring the levels of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which play a key role in regulating mood. When we're well rested, we're better able to respond to challenges with patience, clarity, and resilience. On the other hand, lack of sleep can cause irritability, anxiety, and mood swings, making it harder to manage emotional stress. Sleep is also essential for processing emotions and memories. During sleep, particularly REM sleep, your brain works through the emotional experiences of the day, helping you integrate and make sense of them. This emotional processing is crucial for mental health and can help reduce anxiety and stress over time. So the next time you're feeling emotionally drained, remember that a good night's sleep might be just what you need. It's not just about physical rest, it's about restoring your emotional balance too. Fact 86. How dreams help resolve emotions. Ever woken up from a dream and felt like you'd just worked through an emotional issue, even though you weren't consciously thinking about it? That's your subconscious mind at work, using dreams as a way to process and resolve emotions. Dreams aren't just random images or stories, they're often reflections of what we're feeling deep down. When we experience intense emotions, whether it's fear, sadness, or even joy, our subconscious mind uses dreams to help us make sense of those feelings. For example, if you're dealing with anxiety, you might have dreams where you're in a stressful situation, helping your brain rehearse how to handle it. Similarly, dreams can provide closure for unresolved emotions, giving us a sense of relief or understanding. This emotional processing that happens in dreams is part of the healing process. Your mind uses the dream world to revisit difficult emotions, integrate them, and release the emotional tension. Dreams help us resolve feelings that we might not have fully processed while awake. So, even if your dreams feel intense or confusing, they may be helping you work through unresolved emotions in a safe, subconscious way. By understanding the role of dreams in emotional healing, you can embrace them as a valuable tool for processing and letting go of emotional baggage, creating space for healing and growth. Fact 87. The role of REM sleep in emotional regulation. Ever wonder why we tend to feel more emotionally balanced after a good night's sleep? A large part of that emotional recovery happens during REM, rapid eye movement sleep, the stage of sleep where most of our dreaming occurs. REM sleep plays a crucial role in emotional regulation and overall emotional stability. During REM sleep, the brain is actively processing emotions, consolidating memories, and sorting through feelings from the day. It's like your brain is going through a mental and emotional cleanup, organizing and storing emotional experiences so you can approach the next day with a clearer mind. This process helps regulate your mood, reduce anxiety, and improve emotional resilience. What's fascinating about REM sleep is that it's linked to how we process emotional experiences. For example, studies show that people who experience disrupted REM sleep are more likely to have difficulty managing emotions the following day. They might be more irritable, anxious, or stressed because their brains didn't get the chance to properly process the emotional information from the previous day. So if you're feeling emotionally unbalanced or overwhelmed, focusing on improving your sleep, especially getting enough REM sleep, can make a big difference in how you manage your emotions. Prioritizing quality sleep supports emotional stability, making it easier to face challenges with a calm and clear mind. Fact 88. Emotional repression and sleep. Have you ever laid in bed at night unable to sleep with thoughts and emotions swirling in your mind? If you're constantly pushing emotions aside or repressing them, They don't just vanish, they can affect your ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. When we repress emotions, we're essentially bottling them up, hoping they'll go away on their own. But this emotional build-up doesn't just disappear, it stays with us, often leading to increased stress, anxiety, and tension that disrupts our sleep. Repressed emotions can trigger a heightened state of alertness, making it harder for the mind to relax and unwind at night. This can lead to difficulty falling asleep, frequent awakenings, or even nightmares that reflect unresolved feelings. The emotional toll of repression also affects the quality of our dreams. When emotions are unprocessed, they often surface in dreams, especially during REM sleep where emotional processing happens. These dreams might be unsettling or confusing, leaving you feeling mentally exhausted the next day. The solution? Acknowledge and address your emotions rather than suppressing them. Journaling, talking with a therapist, or simply reflecting on your feelings during the day can help release the emotional tension before bed. When you allow yourself to process your emotions, you give your mind the opportunity to relax and enjoy a peaceful, restorative sleep. Fact 89. The emotional benefits of early bedtimes. You've probably heard the phrase, early to bed, early to rise, but did you know that going to bed earlier can have a significant positive impact on your emotional health? It's not just about getting enough sleep, it's about the timing of when you sleep and how it influences your mood. When you go to bed earlier, your body has more time to enter the restorative phases of sleep, particularly deep sleep and REM sleep. This gives your brain the opportunity to process emotions from the day, reset your emotional state, and recover from any stress or anxiety. A consistent early bedtime helps regulate your circadian rhythm, promoting better sleep quality and emotional balance. Studies have shown that people who go to bed earlier tend to have better mood regulation. They're more likely to wake up feeling refreshed and positive, with a clearer mind and more stable emotions. On the other hand, staying up late and getting less sleep can lead to mood swings, irritability, and emotional exhaustion the next day. So, if you're feeling emotionally drained, consider adjusting your sleep schedule. Going to bed earlier not only helps you get the sleep you need, but also supports emotional resilience, making it easier to face the day with a positive outlook. Fact 90. Calming your mind before sleep. Ever had one of those nights when your mind just won't shut off? Thoughts keep racing, worries pile up, and it feels like you're stuck in an endless loop. It's no surprise, our emotional state before bed has a huge impact on how well we sleep. But there are simple techniques you can use to calm your mind and ease emotional turmoil before you fall asleep. One of the most effective methods is deep breathing. Deep breathing helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which triggers relaxation. A simple technique is to inhale slowly for a count of 4, hold your breath for 4, and then exhale for 4. Repeat this a few times and you'll feel your body begin to relax and your mind settle. Another helpful practice is mindfulness meditation. By focusing on the present moment, whether it's the sensation of your breath or the feel of your body on the bed, you can quiet your racing thoughts. This practice helps you let go of the day's worries and create a peaceful environment for sleep. If you struggle with emotional turmoil at night, try incorporating these calming techniques into your bedtime routine. Whether it's journaling, reading, or simply practicing relaxation, these small adjustments can help ease emotional tension and prepare your mind for a restful night of sleep. Fact 91. The evolutionary purpose of emotions. They're not just random feelings that come and go. They actually have a very important purpose, one that helped us survive and thrive as humans. The evolutionary purpose of emotions goes beyond how we feel. They're deeply rooted in our biology and have developed over time to protect us, guide us, and help us navigate the world. Think about it. Emotions like fear, anger, and joy were essential for survival. Fear, for example, triggers the fight or flight response, preparing us to face danger by either running away or defending ourselves. This was crucial for early humans, especially when they faced predators or other threats. Anger, on the other hand, is tied to the need to defend ourselves or our resources, helping us stand up for what's important. Positive emotions like joy and love serve to strengthen social bonds, which were vital for community survival. These emotions encourage cooperation, connection, and care within groups, which increased the chances of survival. In fact, emotions like happiness and pride help reinforce behaviors that benefit our well-being and encourage us to continue seeking positive outcomes. So, while emotions may seem like just something we experience in response to events, they've evolved for a much deeper reason: to keep us safe, connected, and able to navigate the challenges of life. Understanding this evolutionary purpose can help us appreciate the role emotions play in our daily lives, guiding our actions and reactions. Fact 92. How to use music to manage emotions before sleep. Ever felt the calming effect of your favorite song, or noticed how music can change your mood in an instant? Turns out music is a powerful tool for emotional regulation, especially when it comes to winding down before sleep. Whether it's soft instrumental tunes, nature sounds, or soothing melodies, music has a profound impact on how we manage our emotions. Listening to calming music before bed can help shift our emotional state from stress or anxiety to relaxation and peace. Music has the ability to lower heart rate, reduce levels of the stress hormone cortisol, and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming the body. This makes it easier to transition into a more relaxed emotional state, preparing both the mind and body for rest. The beauty of using music to manage emotions is that it's a simple, accessible tool anyone can use. Create a playlist of calming tunes that resonate with you, and make it part of your bedtime routine. Whether you prefer classical music, ambient sounds, or gentle acoustic melodies, find what soothes your soul. This emotional regulation tool can not only improve your sleep quality, but also help you manage difficult emotions that may linger after a stressful day. Fact 93. The science of emotional contagion. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt the shift in mood? Maybe everyone was calm and you instantly felt relaxed. Or the opposite, there was tension in the air and you could feel your own anxiety rising. This is emotional contagion, the phenomenon where emotions spread from person to person, much like a virus. The science behind emotional contagion is rooted in mirror neurons, which are cells in our brains that help us mimic or mirror the emotions of those around us. When we see someone happy, sad, or stressed, our mirror neurons activate, making us feel those emotions ourselves, even if we didn't experience them firsthand. This is why you can feel uplifted when you're around someone cheerful, or anxious when you're around someone who's stressed. This emotional contagion happens all the time, whether in conversations, group settings, or even in family dynamics. It's why our emotional environment is so important. If you're in a positive, supportive space, you're more likely to feel that same energy, whereas if you're in a tense, negative environment, those feelings can also seep into your own emotional state. Understanding emotional contagion can help you navigate relationships and social interactions more effectively. It's important to be mindful of how your emotions impact others, and vice versa. By consciously choosing to foster positive emotional energy, you can create an environment that supports emotional well-being for everyone involved. Fact 94. Emotions and spirituality. Emotions and spirituality have a deeply intertwined relationship. Whether through prayer, meditation, or other spiritual practices, our emotional states can greatly enhance or hinder our connection to the divine or to our inner selves. In many spiritual traditions, emotions are seen as the bridge between the body and the spirit. When we're emotionally balanced, our spiritual practices often feel more fulfilling and meaningful. For instance, feelings of gratitude and love can deepen our connection during meditation or prayer, allowing us to feel more aligned with our spiritual purpose. On the flip side, negative emotions like anger, jealousy, or resentment can block our spiritual growth. They create emotional barriers that prevent us from fully engaging with our spiritual practices. Recognizing and addressing these emotions can help us clear those barriers, making room for a deeper connection to our spirituality. Mindfulness, meditation, and breathing exercises are excellent tools to help us process our emotions and create a spiritual space where we can feel calm, centered, and open to spiritual growth. By understanding how our emotions shape our spiritual experiences, we can enhance our practices and build a stronger, more meaningful connection to our inner selves and the world around us. Fact 95. How to use breathing techniques to manage emotions. When emotions run high, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of feelings. Whether it's stress, anger, anxiety, or frustration, emotions can sometimes feel overwhelming. That's where breathing techniques come in. Simple, mindful breathing can be one of the most effective ways to regain control over your emotional state and bring yourself back into balance. When we experience strong emotions, our body goes into fight or flight mode, which increases heart rate and shallow breathing. By consciously slowing down your breath, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for relaxation and calm. Deep breathing helps to lower your heart rate, reduce cortisol levels, and shift your emotional state from reactive to reflective. A simple technique to try is called the 4, 7, or 8 method. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold your breath for 7, and then exhale through your mouth for a count of 8. This technique helps to calm the nervous system, reduce anxiety, and center your mind. Breathing exercises are a powerful tool that can be used anytime, anywhere. Whether you're in a stressful meeting, facing a challenging situation, or just need to unwind, taking a few minutes to focus on your breath can help you regain control over your emotions and improve your overall emotional well-being. Fact 96. The impact of nature on emotional health. Have you ever felt your mood lift after a walk through the park, or noticed how peaceful you feel when you're surrounded by trees or near the ocean? There's actually science behind that feeling. Connecting with nature has a powerful impact on our emotional health, and it's more than just the fresh air. Being in nature has been shown to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. When we step outside and immerse ourselves in natural surroundings, our brains start to relax. Nature has a calming effect on the nervous system, helping to lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and boosting our mood. Even just looking at greenery or spending time in a quiet, natural space can lower blood pressure and improve emotional well-being. But it's not just about the physical effects. Nature also helps us emotionally. It encourages mindfulness, provides space for reflection, and reminds us to slow down. Whether it's hiking in the mountains, walking by the beach, or simply sitting in a garden, nature gives us the time and space to disconnect from the hustle and bustle of daily life and reconnect with ourselves. If you're feeling emotionally drained or stressed, taking some time to step outside and enjoy the beauty of nature can be a quick, effective way to restore balance and boost your mood. It's nature's way of offering emotional healing, free of charge. Fact 97. The science behind emotional detachment. Emotional detachment. It's something we might have heard about but don't always fully understand. It's that feeling of emotional distance, where you protect yourself from getting too close or involved with others. While emotional detachment can seem cold or distant, it actually serves as a defense mechanism that helps protect us from emotional pain. When we've been hurt, whether it's from past relationships, trauma, or difficult life events, our minds often create emotional distance as a way to cope. This detachment is the brain's way of preventing further pain or vulnerability. It's a protective mechanism that helps us avoid getting too close to others, especially when we feel like we might get hurt again. However, while emotional detachment can provide temporary relief, it can also prevent us from fully engaging in relationships or experiencing deeper emotional connections. Over time, it can lead to isolation, emotional numbness, or difficulty forming new bonds. The key is to recognize when emotional detachment is serving a protective function and when it's keeping us stuck. Slowly and gently re-engaging with emotions, whether through therapy, self-reflection, or vulnerability in safe spaces, can help us heal from past wounds and open up to emotional connection again. Fact 98. Positive emotions and healing. We've all heard the saying, laughter is the best medicine. But did you know that positive emotions can actually support physical healing? It's true. Our emotional states are closely tied to our physical health. And cultivating positive emotions like joy, gratitude, and love can have a real, tangible impact on our bodies. When we experience positive emotions, our bodies release beneficial chemicals like endorphins and oxytocin, which not only improve mood but also help reduce pain and inflammation. These feel-good hormones boost our immune system, improve circulation, and promote overall physical healing. For example, people who experience more joy and laughter tend to recover faster from illnesses and surgeries. Positive emotions also help reduce the effects of stress, which is known to have a negative impact on physical health. When we feel happy and optimistic, our stress levels drop, reducing the wear and tear on our bodies and making it easier to heal from injury or illness. The best part is that cultivating positive emotions doesn't require grand gestures. Small acts of kindness, moments of laughter, Practicing gratitude or simply spending time with loved ones can all have a profound impact on our emotional and physical health. By fostering a positive emotional state, we're also helping our bodies recover and thrive. Fact 99. The role of humor in emotional health. Laughter. There's nothing quite like it, right? Whether it's a funny movie, a joke with friends, or even laughing at yourself, humor has a powerful role in emotional health. It's not just about feeling good in the moment. Laughter actually supports emotional well-being in a way that's both immediate and long-lasting. When we laugh, our bodies release endorphins, the brain's natural feel-good chemicals. These hormones promote happiness, reduce stress, and even act as natural painkillers. But laughter isn't just a quick fix. It has long-term benefits for mental health too. Humor helps put things into perspective, allowing us to cope with life's challenges and find relief from emotional stress. It lightens our mood, reduces anxiety, and fosters positive thinking. Humor also helps strengthen social bonds. Sharing a laugh with someone creates a sense of connection and builds trust, which is essential for emotional well-being. It's a reminder that no matter how difficult life gets, humor provides a moment of relief, joy, and connection. So, whether it's through comedy, funny stories, or just embracing the joy of laughter, making room for humor in your life can be a powerful way to improve emotional health. After all, sometimes laughter really is the best medicine. Fact 100. The ultimate guide to emotional wellness. Emotional wellness. It's something we all strive for, but what does it actually mean? Emotional wellness is the ability to understand, manage, and express your emotions in healthy ways. It's about being aware of your emotional state, processing your feelings in a constructive manner, and maintaining balance in your mental and emotional life. The key to emotional wellness is self-awareness. By paying attention to your emotions, you can recognize patterns and triggers that affect your mood. This awareness allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Emotional wellness also involves learning how to manage stress, build resilience, and practice self-compassion. Another important aspect of emotional wellness is building healthy relationships. Connecting with others, offering support and receiving care from loved ones create a strong emotional foundation. Having a positive support system helps you navigate emotional challenges with confidence and strength. Lastly, emotional wellness includes self-care. Taking time for yourself, whether through exercise, hobbies, or simply relaxing, helps you recharge emotionally and mentally. Practicing gratitude, mindfulness, and setting healthy boundaries all contribute to emotional well-being. By nurturing your emotional health through these practices, you're creating a more balanced, fulfilling life. Emotional wellness isn't about being happy all the time. It's about feeling equipped to handle whatever life throws at you, with a strong sense of self and connection to others.